Good morning and welcome to the Burnside Bowling Club here in Christchurch, where the sun is absolutely streaming down here. Absolutely magnificent day we have got for our finals day, where the day will be featuring that of the men's pairs. Quarter-final play underway right now, and the women's singles, where the semi-finals are also now just getting underway here at the Burnside Bowling Club. Yesterday, of course, we completed that of the New Zealand Paras, their events, and the New Zealand Blind Bowls. Now on to the final day, and we're going to have a fantastic day, no doubt. And I got with me Alex Reid this morning, and just quickly running through the matches that we have got in the men's pairs. Firstly, and that's our feature game. We have got Kelvin Scott, because Kelvin Scott, winner of the singles a few days back, playing with Barry Williams against Richard Hocking and Aiden Takarua of Auckland. Then we've got Gary Lawson and Tony Grantham playing on the next rink, playing against Kelvin Jackson. Stephen Beale up against Taylor Horn. Andrew Kelly and Seamus Curtin up against Paul Matheson. Good spread of locals as well within and amongst that last 8 in this quarter-final stage. And then we've got the semi-final of the women's singles. We've got Taylor Bruce of the Burnside Club and Selena Goddard of the North Harbour, the Takapuna Club on the North Shore, up against Mandy Boyd, where I'm not quite sure whether I'd turn Mandy as a Cantabrian or a Wellington
New Zealander.
A New Zealander, I suppose, is up against Claire Hendra of Silverstream in the race to 21. We'll be bringing you updates of those scores throughout the morning, and then the next game that we will bring to you will be that of the women's singles final. And then this afternoon we'll have the final of the men's Summerset National Pairs, which will bring this national championship to a close. And Alex with me, I've got to congratulate you, Alex. You're going to get through without losing 1 minute's play with adverse weather.
Yep, no rain. We had a little bit of, it got cold once.
It did.
There's been a bit of wind, but no rain, so it's been a brilliant Summerset Nationals, and it's going to be a great way to finish it off in this finals day.
What's happening, Barry?
And certainly as well, with that, it's fair to say, Alex, that we have also had the pleasure of playing with playing on absolutely magnificent surfaces, and I've just got some very important photos being delivered to me.
Yeah, no, it's been lovely here, and Jamie Ferris, the greenkeeper at Burnside, did a good job this morning. He was up bright and early. I think he's double rolled the greens, so it's going to be a fantastic playing surface for the players today.
It certainly is, and we'll bring you up to date with this coming to the end of the first end of 18 in this quarter-final.
No short bowls yet, Kev?
No, all over the head, which is a pretty good indication of the green, isn't it? That augurs well, comments well for the green. And look, the greens around, the one thing that, besides the fantastic surface that they've presented, the consistent speed of the greens, but also, Alex, it's just fantastic to see greens whereby you have a surface that runs right to the ditch, runs all the way to the ditch board. So
absolutely
outstanding service. So first end completed, and it was the Barry Williams and Kelvin Scott combination who opened the scoring with a 1. Barry Williams, a bowler of was a very good golfer in fact, and decided to got encouraged by Peter Dole to join up here at Burnside, only club he's played at. It's just been Burnside right throughout, and in his 13th year now of playing bowls, he's got 4 Canterbury titles over a spread of events, over a spread of years. And it's interesting, his sort of starting appetite for bowls, Alex, was he came along here to Burnside a number of years back and watched Rowan Brassey and Rob Perella in action, no doubt in the Trans-Tasman, I would say, and thought to himself, by goodness, this is the game for me. Took him a few years to put the golf clubs in the cupboard.
As long as he got there eventually.
But he got there eventually, and I think he still trundles around with the golf club, but certainly not with the same dedication as he did a few years back. Now, very, very keen bowler, and the green superintendent here at Burnside.
Okay, so he'll know these greens well.
Yes, he will. He'll know the greens very well, as we see first bowl of Barry Williams just go by the jack. And I'm sure in this particular game, Alex, we'll see that we've got players who are very much, Aiden plays a variety of shots. Kelvin Scott, we saw his drawing prowess, of course, in the singles finals. So I'm pretty sure we'll see a quarter-final match, which where we won't see undergreen bowls. We'll see as the game progresses. I think we'll see some pretty tight heads throughout this event, and of course, for a number of these players, this event now becomes very important with Commonwealth Games trials and selection not far away. Players, like Gary Lawson, Tony Grantham, Andrew Kelly, Seamus Curtin, all here in contention. Selena Goddard, Taylor Bruce, all becomes a pretty important day for those.
Yes, it
players,
does. It's a massive day for those players, and it's just going to be good bowls all round. It's what you expect at a national event when you get to the quarter and semi-final stage. There's no easy games, no mugs. Everyone knows what they're doing, so I'm looking forward to 3 brilliant live stream games, and for people who are here, they'll get to see even more than that because there's some off the live stream as well.
They will, as you see this bowl of Richard Hocking's just coming down past the jack now, just slightly under the jack line. More than likely about a metre back over their head. Of course, we're very fortunate here with the marking of the green with the centre lines, etc. Gives us a very good indication of the situation of the head. As we see Williams.
You can see there also, Kev, there's some extra markings viewers at home might not have seen on a bowling green before where the skips are standing.
Yes.
That's to give the players an indication of where they can be out of the road of the cameras by standing on. So we give them a sort of visual cue and say, look, if you can just sort of stand outside of where those markings are, the viewers at home will be able to see the head.
Well, that's interesting. Talking to Kelvin Scott beforehand, he said to me, yeah, I have a bit of a challenge with that because I'm very much a head owner.
Yeah. We don't begrudge them. It's their game of bowls at the end of the day, but if they can keep it in their minds just to stand out, it makes our lives a bit easier, and the switches in the live stream room have to press a few less buttons. Interesting here, Kev, we commentated the women's pairs semi-final on this rink, and that hand to the side of the clubhouse, so to the left as we're looking, it held a little bit, and it looks like it might be holding a little bit again today.
If we look there now, there's 1, 2, 3, 5 bowls of the 6 played who have all on that line and all sitting in 4 of them in a similar weighted position, aren't they? Another one about a metre behind. So it just highlights that there's more than likely in your margin of error, let's say there's 18 inches.
Yeah. It'll be intriguing to see if and when the leads switch hands in this game in comparison to that women's pair semi-final, because we saw them persist for 10 or 11 ends in that semi-final, and then we saw a switch. So I wonder if a similar pattern will happen in this.
Well, this is interesting.
First bowl.
Remember, Kelvin Scott played in close vicinity to here in his finals, in his final of the singles. And straight away, he's on the other hand. Yeah,
it's a great shot there from Kelvin, drawing jack level.
So that gives him pretty much some very quickly confidence of that line, really, doesn't it, Alex? That line to the jack.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I suppose there's no one on that green who's played as many bowls as Kelvin has in the last 8 days.
Absolutely. So here's Aiden Takarua, and you just see. I don't want to be the sort of they told you so, but you can just see though, Alex, about 10, 12 feet out, it's just taking time to move into the arc.
Yeah, it's one of those hands. It's just a bit holdy, and it can be frustrating if you don't pick it perfectly. Kelvin again on the back end. He put one closer, just be looking to get another one there, I think.
Well, there's no pressure really, is there, on the head for him, so he can confidently play there. He's going to fall under the head.
There we go. I think we might see
jack level, or a bowl low.
Decisions here for the so Richard Hocking indicating Aiden to play on the forehand. It's holding enough that he could just about draw underneath that.
It is holding enough that he would draw under that second bowl of Kelvin's. Absolutely, he can. Of course, I think one has to be aware of. You don't bring that line in too far because
playing with more purpose though.
Playing with the jack, playing for the jack really, jack or bowl, and might be unlucky. Here he is and gets the port.
Probably an indication. I suppose they would have had a chat about how they wanted to play their game plan for this game.
It's interesting though. I just heard then Barry Williams remarking to Kelvin Scott that we have got 3 over the head, so they're not too concerned really about the attacking the jack, and So Scott will no doubt endeavour to draw another.
Oh, his backhand again looking like a lovely track. It's down to his weight, and Aiden just come and have a nosy at the head himself. That's a good call in a quarter-final as well. There's no time limit.
No time limit. Now, this actually could aid Aiden Takarua if it sits on that other side of the jack. No, it's superbly
Good
played
bowl.
by its three magnificent bowlers from Kelvin Scott, really, isn't it? On the all identical weight, pretty similar sort of line. And there's no doubt that, you know, the danger is, of course, with the attacking shot is that, sure, you got to play it, but you don't want to spend your time too much of your time early on in the game.
He's going to hit this.
Hacking and whacking at the head, do you? You know, because you can very quickly, you don't get the feel of the green.
It is, you know, I think this bowler, if he nails it, you get confidence early on, and if he doesn't, that's when it can become a more stressful proposition.
So Takarua playing with a lot of weight, endeavouring to get to the jack.
Close here from Aiden.
He's on a close line to the
here.
shot bowl. Jack get two of them, and will do. That's well played.
Good shot. He was a little bit stiff not to get some jack movement, but he was right in that area that he needed to be. So we'll see what it ended up. I saw one of Richard Hocking's bowl actually roll up the rink.
So
On collision there. We're going to see Williams measure for second.
good reduction shot,
Yeah,
and
good
could have worked out far more favourably for him.
Yeah, but he'll be happy with that. You know, he
Yeah.
was under a bit of pressure. He was within a bowl of his target, so it means that for the rest of the game, when they're in that situation, he'll have confidence and being there or thereabouts. And we see
And it was two.
Yep, two there from our lollipop man for the live streaming.
Was it
Thank
toe?
you for that.
Toe.
Resplendent in their bowls, New Zealand bucket hats, Kev.
They are.
His bowl actually come back up the green.
He just,
One of the bowls he hit actually come back up the
He
green.
was watching
Yeah.
too.
yeah, he was. Well said, Kelvin. It did come back up the green.
Oh,
I
he's
see. Williams.
got hit.
So Kelvin Scott, of course, been around the bowling scene for a long, long time, and is what I would call as one of the unlucky players, not to have gone further in regards to, you know, the silver fern. But you know, one never says never, because he's certainly had a good, you know, good tournament to date, hasn't he? And you know, I would say, look, I don't know the thoughts of New Zealand selectors at all, but the door's never closed, is it, if you're available?
Bowls is bowls. If you can play it well and prove that you can last a few days. And look, Kelvin's been playing for 8 days now and he's still playing good bowls. So if
He
you
is.
want
That's
an
brilliant.
indication of someone who's capable of dealing with the pressures of international bowl schedule, I think that he would have ticked that box. But bowls is bowls. It's one of those sports. If you can play well, you should be selected. It comes down to whether the players are available as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a similar situation, of course, as well, and the women have it with Mandy Boyd as an
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
Who, you know, I'm not going to speak out of turn, but I'm sure the New Zealand selectors would love to hear the words "I'm available," because it would certainly be a player that would be in contention without any shadow of doubt.
Oh, for sure. You know,
a New Zealand side.
of the players, of the women competing at this national, she's probably got the best national record, or one of the best. She'd be in the top three ones, and
More than likely
still
her
winning
and-
titles.
Her and Val Smith would more than likely have
Right up
to
there,
be
yeah,
right
yeah.
up there, wouldn't they? So we see this bowl of Barry Williams just going to touch on the jack.
So there we see, Kev, the importance of a back bowl with your first one from a
Correct.
lead. Richard played a great shot, perfect line, a metre past. Barry's played a good bowl, but he's moved the jack sort of into contention for that head. So it's a good shot there from Richard as well with this first one.
Well, there's no harm in being behind the head as that metre that we continuously talk about. Richard Hocking, Burnside player, been around the scene for a number of years, been in New Zealand age group and emerging players, and of course in the Canterbury side. So very, very...
Half a chance. It's down to his weight, isn't it?
It is. It's a good line to the jack here. Is it going to come back far enough or sit on his own? No, it won't.
Slightly overplayed.
Don't be scared of it, Barry.
Beautiful.
Hold up.
Yeah, beautiful track.
You'd have heard Kelvin Scott there in the microphone. Don't be scared of it. Don't be frightened that to reach that bowl on that backhand. Of course, what has happened with losing that second bowl, it just takes one of the Aiden Takarua bowls out of play. And this bowl of Williams, how far is this going to run past the Second shot stays on
Very
top
good
of
ball,
the
mate.
green. Yeah, I'm sure Kelvin's
good
got to
shot.
be more than
Yeah.
happy with that bowl, that's for sure.
Richard would have liked his second one to finish, but he's hit perfect line twice, so it should
Well,
be...
he's playing a metre past the 2 metre mark, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's ditch to ditch, but it's, you know, the margin of error is, it's tight, and it's a.
Here we go. Let's see how this one goes. He's got his line perfect again.
The
It's
line's
just down to his
perfect.
weight.
Yeah.
Just
Half
got to
a
get
chance
past this
from
bowl.
Richard Hocking.
Just going to sit on top of
Good
the
enough.
bowl. That's good, though.
Signs of life and the leads.
Good shot.
Kevin, I think we are going to see, as you said, a good game here. Nice tight heads.
Well, if you consider the centre line, if we look at it, Jack's been moved. It's very, they're very consistent bowls. And as I said earlier on at the opening of this commentary, we will be bringing you score updates this morning as well from the other quarterfinals matches of the Summerset National Men's Pairs and the semi-finals of the Summerset National Women's Singles. We will be bringing you updates on those scoreboards throughout the morning. So here is Scott. This looks on the tighter line.
Yeah, you'd be willing that one to hold. Just a little bit of everything there. His weight's finished even with the jack, to be fair. Actually would have drawn... if you look at the weight, he would have rested on Richard's second shot bowl perfect.
Weight
if
was
he
pretty,
just had a
weight was
slightly
good,
better
wasn't
line. So Aiden won't do anything. He'll just be looking to draw on his back end here, I'd imagine. They're looking to clear that front bowl of Richards. The skips get to watch the leads bowls come down, so he'll have a good understanding of what line to take here.
And yeah, and there's plenty of guide there to know where it is, isn't it? Just past that 2 metre mark.
Even if he falls a little bit short, that's not a bad thing, because it means there's bowls that he can shunt into the head if he plays a similar track. On his back end as well as Aiden. We'll see if it breaks back from there.
On that wider line, it's moving back now, but it hasn't got the weight to come all the way back. Certainly trying hard, not going to quite make it, but certainly had a good trap.
Yeah, not horrible, that bowl. He's finished sort of high of the line, so it probably gives him a track if that shot's still available with his next one. We'll see what Kelvin has to say about that.
But for those who don't know, Aiden Takarua, he of course was part of the inaugural Bowls 3-5.
Still on that tight.
And of course played with Alex sitting next to me.
What a great
Alex
event
Reed.
that was, Kev.
Certainly was. You'd remember that, wouldn't you, Alex?
Yep, fondly.
One bowl in particular?
Yes, yeah, just one of them, yeah.
And Jenny Stockford. And then, of course, he won the New Zealand Secondary School Pairs, representing St Peter's College, with Alex Edwards, and is a Gold Star holder in Auckland. He's won the Open Fours. He's won singles and he's won the Open Triples. So well known on the Auckland scene.
Yeah, he's been successful in the Auckland region. Member of the Intercentre team last year. Debut for the Intercentre there.
This looks pretty good to the jack. Does he just desperately unlucky? His line was good there to get to the jack. That bowler Aiden Takarua.
They're building up a nice head there now, though, Kev. They've got second, third, and fourth. If they can find a way to rest through that bowl of Barry's.
Well, you can certainly go hunting for it, can't you?
Yeah, you can look for the bowl. There might be a plant set up. We'll just have to wait and see when the camera goes back to it what it looks like. But Aiden will be looking to take his chances. He's not a player that leaves a game thinking, what if I had done this? He usually gives it a go. Well,
Kelvin Scott's wider with this bowl, been under the head with his first two, but more than likely just got a bit too much weight and going to run by. And I think there's an opportunity there to play to that bowl. And if the jack was to move, so to speak, unfavourably and dislodging the bowl, it's still only a one-down result.
From one down to one down, so it's going to take his chances here. He'll give it a nice chance to do something good, I reckon, on his forehand.
So here is Aiden Takarua searching on the forehand.
Oh, he's wide.
He's wide of that, but certainly had the weight to...
Yeah, it was lovely weight for the shot, because if he had been tighter, it was giving himself opportunities to get a good result. So the drop of one there, but...
shot, would you? Out the
well, the good thing from the side there for the Hocking Aiden Takarua side was that they did have a scoring head opportunity.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So now to come on, boys, just keep drawing that consistently, and as you well know, you more than likely you may get 4, maybe 5 opportunities in a game to maximise with a number.
For sure, yeah.
And he wasn't very far away there.
No, he wasn't. And when it's the last bowl shot as well, there's no right of reply. You know, you play your last bowl. You just need to be sitting with the number when the dust settles. Doesn't matter how far away they are.
So Barry Williams, he's persisting. Well, he would know the screen, and he's got the line. He's got it right. He's got that line right on that clubhouse side.
Great shot.
And draws right in behind the jack.
Still sitting against the bias there, Keith.
Yes, it is. And, of course, another leading against Barry Williams, of course, is fellow Burnside club member, Richard Hocking, and seems to have a slightly different line, different bowls, no doubt.
I think his bowls have quite a bit of... I can't remember which ones they play with, Richard, but I know his bowls do swing quite a bit. I think they might be... Are they Green Masters or something?
I don't know what they are, but they certainly... You can see it came right back to the centre line. So, you know, it was... the line was outstanding.
So we'll see Barry Williams do a similar thing again on his forehand. Bit of a leg kick at the release of that one.
Well, the good thing is, even if you've got a sort of a hard, or not hard hand, but a challenging hand, if you can find that mark on the green, that point on the green, it doesn't really matter.
If your bowls are ending up close,
you know where you're going. Of course, the other games, as I said, we've got Gary Lawson up against Kelvin Jackson, Stephen Beale playing Taylor Horn, and Andrew Kelly playing Paul Matheson. Semi-final of the women's singles as well, where Taylor Bruce is up against Selena Goddard and Mandy Boyd up against Claire Hendra. And those games have just got underway here.
Great games of bowls. And two good bowls here again from Richard. Again, we're seeing a head which is developing. Where
centre line.
Centre line bowls. Good chances for both skips to maximise their opportunities. Good chances for numbers to be happening. So it's going to be an exciting game, I suspect.
Again, the Barons got there when it seemed to be wider.
Yeah, missed out of the hand with that one, I think.
You could see out of the hand there was just a bit of movement there.
He would have known when to let it go that it wasn't going to end up as close as he would like.
Just got that hand to sort of pushed it out a bit. So you can see Aiden Takarua just indicating to Richard Hocking, it just, it's a metre, that's all. So if he's...
Just a minuscule correction here. Even if Hocking's passed again to match that third bowl, Aiden will be happy because he crosses over. Second, third and fourth shot all a little bit past the jack. Opportunities left, right and centre to make something of it. But Richard has made a correction here and looks like a pretty good one to me.
This is on a handy line. This bowl as it runs towards the jack. Runs towards the jack.
Great shot there from Richard Hocking.
And that's exactly what we spoke about. And of course, Kelvin Scott can't afford to attack too much because he's now left with one bowl really on the head. So all of a sudden now we've got the combination of Richard Hocking and Aiden Takarua who hold a position on the head.
Yeah, so that's good leading there from Richard Hocking. 2 past and 1 on.
But we have seen early on, of course, Alex in the men's singles, the drawing ability.
Oh, he can do anything. He could draw through the eye of a needle, I suspect,
He
Kelvin.
played some magnificent bowls in that final against Tony Grantham. And that's taking, of course, nothing away from Tony Grantham, who's out here again today in the last 8 of the pairs. But Alex Reid, on the day, Kelvin Scott was just... he was outstanding.
Oh, it was a magnificent display, wasn't it, from Kelvin in that men's singles, and he had to get through some really tough opposition to even get to the final, as you do when you win a national singles title, I suppose, but a great display there from Kelvin.
It's interesting, he remarked to me this morning, same rink.
Thank you. What have you been up to?
He played the big game in the last year in the club final.
Yes.
And when he played Shannon McElroy, right?
And that was a great game as well, wasn't it?
And he said to me this morning, do you remember that game out there? And I do, because we covered that game. And so here is, with Aiden Takarua liked that bowl out of the hand. He
just watching it.
Needs to come back fractionally more yet. Needs to be
moving
inside the bowl, but that's fine.
Yep, good shot.
That's fine. It's in behind the head. I'm picking Kelvin Scott. Will need to get or want to get another bowl in on the head, or even covering where those 3 bowls are, because movement of the jack is certainly favouring.
Taking a high line, Barry Williams showing an interest in this one. See how it breaks back.
Well, if it comes back to these bowls, you'll be quite happy.
Good shot.
And sitting right in that nest now, that nest of 4 bowls. So Aiden Takarua will endeavour to reach up through the head. The Auckland player, Point Chevalier player.
Following this one up.
It's a different... Well, the line's pretty good.
Yeah, it's down to his weight now. If it gets into that gap, it's a really good bowl. Still tracking nicely here.
It's come in now. Has it got one more roll in it? No, it hasn't.
It was a good shot, but stiff.
You happy with that weight?
Do you just see what happens here, Alex? Do you think now with that, say, protection in the front, that you could sort of attack it the wee bit more weight?
Yeah, it's worth a number. He'll be looking to find a 2 or 3. Get them started on when they score on the start on the scoreboard. They'd like to start with a multiple, I suspect. And Kelvin on the forehand. This is breaking back. Oh, that's worked out really well.
Well, it did work out very, very well because it took away the jack level position to be able to attack with a different weight.
Yeah.
Now it's really the same again, isn't it? Really to try and reach the bowl, get 2 turns
out
of the bowl.
Try play it perfect well. He can play it with confidence because they've got seconds and thirds. So just play a perfect shot. It doesn't matter if he's narrow and gets bogged on his shot bowl.
Hi, Kelvin. I'm Kelvin.
You get 2 turns out of the bowl, shot bowl. He'd be happy about that. Is that familiar? The swing, the arm swing of the Auckland player.
And it goes smoothly enough. We'll see how it goes. On a high line. I don't think that's going to be coming back. No, he's walked away from that one. Had weight just to try and flick that shot bowl out, but we see the Scott-Williams combination score another point, so they go to a 5-0 lead now after 4 ends are completed of the 18, and of course, Kev, because it is a quarterfinal, there is no time limit, so
yes.
Depending on what mood Aiden ends up in as this game goes on, we could see a few kills. We could see a few kills, and it might go on for a while.
How old's Aiden approximately?
I think he's early 20s, 22 or 23.
So another of the youngsters, so to speak. That
yeah, he's one of that stock of bowlers who came through that secondary schools program and participated. There's actually an event here, isn't there, at Burnside? I think the under-26 singles.
Under-26 singles.
He's been a regular participant in that same sort of era of bowlers, and Richard a couple of years older.
Yeah, there's been the collection of age group. There was the Kitty Hawks, of course, which was always played in Auckland at Easter.
That's right.
I'm not sure. Does that event still played, is it, or has that been replaced now by the Burnside?
I think it's been mostly replaced by the Burnside under-26s now. I'm happy to be corrected on that, but I haven't heard of it for the last couple of years.
I got a feeling that it was because the only hang or Royal Oak event, the Kitty Hawks one, was traditionally played at Easter time.
Yes.
And the players used to come from around the country and be billeted, and I think now it's been replaced by this the Burnside. Well,
under 26 singles, yeah, which is a similar system, isn't it? It's
the Kerry Bruce brainchild.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And it always is a very good field, doesn't it? Always.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it gets them all out of the woodwork playing, and they have a good few days, and there's always good bowls, and it's interesting to follow those results. Always found on the Bowls New Zealand website, Kev. It's one of the Summer Bowls events, so we get it right up for it done.
Well, it's fair to say now, Alex, that we are so fortunate with what I would call a group of younger people within the staff ranks at Bowls New Zealand that who are so IT savvy that there's no shortage now of results and updates, and it's also very, very good to see. You have a look on Facebook now, the number of bowling clubs who are putting up their events or
it's great.
Championships or whatever it might be. Good bowl here from Hocking, just lower the jack. And his bowl's been very consistent, really. They haven't been able to get the scoring out of them, but he has been consistent on the draw.
We've said the score's now 5-0 to Scott-Williams, but the heads have been very evenly contested. It would be, we could blink and we could be looking at 5-all.
Absolutely, and it can change very quickly.
See Barry Williams on the backhand. Nice line. I think his bowls are going to come back. Those older bowls past. Good shot. Yep.
That's very, very well played. Right on the centre line, just back over the 2-metre mark. And, if you look at those 5 bowls that we've got there now, Alex, it's the sort of well, one, it highlights the class of the players,
Yeah.
But it also highlights the integrity of the green as well, doesn't it?
Oh, it allows the players to be consistent, doesn't it? When we don't have a wind, there's no wind out
no
there
wind,
this morning.
absolutely.
It got a bit windy yesterday in that last round. We had a 5:30 round playing to get down to the quarterfinals. Nearly an inside out there from Richard Hocking. He would have killed for just a few feet more weight or a little bit more green, get that good little wick, but wasn't to be.
But the head's still fairly good for them. They got one of each on forehand and backhand. They've got a back bowl. It's still looking, yes, fairly good. Yeah, would have been. There was a late game there, late round coming through yesterday.
Yeah, at 5:30, and it got a bit gusty. So the head sort of got less tight as the gust went up. But that's bowls, isn't it? And there's a skill to playing in the wind, and you still see the good players make something happen.
So Kelvin Scott. He won't actually be too concerned if he gets a touch on the jack through the port there, just moved it a couple of inches. He wouldn't be too concerned at all because it's
an opportunity to really improve the head for Kelvin.
Correct.
And Piers, it's interesting, the bowls, we'll wait for this one to come in. He's on his backhand. He would have been putting a lot of focus into this. Good shot, good shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Just changed that head
right in the
dimension right around a bit. He had two options of changing the head around and getting to the bowls, or doing what he did now, one bowl target.
Yeah.
And whereas before that little trail shot was on to move it round the corner, now it's a one bowl target to get some movement down towards the jack.
He's improved it a lot. But yeah, I was saying in pairs, often it's the third bowl of the lead, the last bowl of the lead and the first bowl of the skip are the really important ones.
Correct.
Because it's where you're sewing up ahead or making a change that needs to be made. So if you're playing pairs, that's if you talk to the players who've been successful, those are the bowls they really focus on. Same as in singles when you focus on your third bowl to be your changing bowl.
So here's Takarua trying to make that contact.
Half a chance if he's got the weight.
Chances he's got to wait more than likely to have just done with another foot. Just makes the shot a wee bit more difficult by rolling his own bowl over in front of you'll see it there sitting just outside the centre line. Has to now just skirt around that bowl to get down to the jack.
Yeah, he's changed the line for his backhand shot, and the forehand shot, if he wanted to sort of play on to their bowls, is fraught with danger because there's a bit of position there from Barry. A crowd beginning to gather.
I'm sure we'll have a good crowd in here today. Christchurch, as we know, are great supporters of major bowls events, and I'm sure there'll be a good crowd in here as the day progresses, as we go to our next game, which will be the women's singles final. And
Kelvin on his backhand. Oh, he's not happy with that one. We've seen the arms wave. I think he must he's taken too high a line, and he knows he needs to take a tight one. Not horrible, though.
But if he's through the head, Alex, he's not going to be. Gets past that bowl of Richard Hocking's in.
Yeah,
so
he's looking on the forehand into that bunch of bowls.
There's
so
an option in there.
That's your two different shots are on. He could play on the forehand, so the bowls that sit at 9 o'clock, the black bowl and the red bowl, you could just about cannon the black clean out.
I think the shot he's looking at is the ideal shot because you're playing to literally a two-bowl running target compared to a one-bowl draw target on the other hand. Really,
I agree.
aren't you?
So yeah, if he plays it perfect, he'll cannon. We'll see almost all the black bowls gone off the head, I suspect. And if he doesn't, there's still chances. He'll be looking. If he misses tight onto his bowl square, that's no worries either.
Well, he can play. You can play with weight with confidence. He's not going to get into a great deal of damage.
These are the sort of shots you can get a bit of confidence from as well. If you nail one of these, you can get your tail up and you're not going to miss. The next one's on his forehand. Confident weight. He needs it to hold. He's half a chance. This is close.
A chance here.
This is close.
Gets the front of his own bowl and he was desperately unlucky there because he played it exactly as we sort of, where the target area we could see it was, and there's still a shot on there, isn't it? But he's just got to be a bit careful he doesn't lose the Richard Hocking bowl, which is in behind the head.
He played it with good weight too. He was within an eighth of a bowler for perfect result, but we see the head now.
It was in the target area the whole way, wasn't it?
Right. Forehand, mate.
Kelvin switching to the forehand. It's great to have those mics, isn't it, Kev?
Fantastic, a great innovation, and the players have been very accommodating as well.
Yes, they have been.
So here is
on the forehand. So Aiden weighs up his chances, opportunities waiting for this bowl to come up the rink.
I'm sure Kelvin Scott would just like to get a bowl. He'd be quite happy with that because I think he's really. I think he should be playing this with possibly more weight to hold that line down to the jack, and if he thought he is changing to the backhand, and he can swoop down in that backhand with ditch weight really to sit through the bowl. Danger is you're not going to come back, and I just think if you're going to play that, Alex, you're far better to play with weight down to that line rather than trying to. You can just. I'm not going to say it was an ineffective bowl, but it just cut the chances down and getting the result.
He'll be disappointed with that one, particularly after his first bowl was within an inch, an inch of perfect things. So one there to Scott and Williams, 6-0 after 5 ends. So it's been a low-scoring game, which I think reflects the heads, Kev. It's been well-contested heads, but Scott and Williams just ticking over that scoreboard.
Well, the thing is, really, with Alex, if we just put the scoreboard aside and you're in the Aiden Takarua combination, is you know that you're creating scoring opportunities, and so sooner or later they're going to come. You know, they'll come, a 3 or whatever. It will come along if you just hang in there, and then, of course, you just go from there.
Yeah, I agree. So they won't really be concerned. Although it is always nice to score.
Oh, it is.
You know, you want to get on that scoreboard.
So it's now 6-0 to the Barry Williams Kelvin Scott combination.
On the forehand, Barry Williams picking this green, absolutely beautiful. That's another good shot there
Right
from Barry
to the
Williams.
jack. This is coming right to the jack, isn't it?
Brilliant,
And he's had 3 each end. He has had one bowl at least, which is literally right onto the jack, and by goodness, that certainly sets the head at the start of the head up very well, doesn't it?
It does, and particularly on his forehand coming this direction, I think he played another one close last time, Kev. So Barry in good touch, he'll be feeling pretty confident. Richard on the backhand. So we see a switch to the backhand from the leads. It's I think just about the first bowl we've seen on that side.
It has, and it was, well, really, to be fair, it was predictable that was going to happen because if the opposition lead is beating you to the hand, you've got to then try and you can't get that same line as him or hurt.
Yeah, so we'll see Richard aiming to put a couple of balls on his backhand, a foot or 2 feet past the jack, even further back than that's all good, and then Aiden can sort of follow it down on the backhand as well, and if there's jack movement, it's happy days. Kelvin just watching this one come up to the head. Barry getting bogged on Richard's one. Yeah, so Aiden's still calling the backhand. He's looking for him to be tighter rather than wide because a bit of movement isn't horrible at this point, but the main thing that Richard will be thinking is I need to be a little bit past this time.
Yes, he does, and he can't leave the changeover of heads with a short bowl here. Definitely needs to be over to be able to give.
Yep, happy enough.
Skip the chance, and this will come back towards that centre line, and that's
very good. That's just about a perfect bowl there. You couldn't ask for much more. That means he can correct off that one with his next one, keep the same weight, take a slightly narrower track. You're either resting on your red or you're pushing that black bowl back.
Well, even if you can draw on that backhand and give yourself literally a jack-level bowl, it's going to give Richard Hocking a bowl to use. Sorry, it's going to give Aiden a bowl to use to get to a result position, isn't it?
Absolutely. And Barry on his backhand. This is close to a screamer. Down it comes. Is it going to rest on the... Nah, just reaching just past that red one. If he'd gone square onto Richard's bowl and sat down, that would have been perfect for black.
So, another bowl really wanted on the head here. So is that even just slightly past the head will enable Aiden to be able to reach the bowl, or if he sits jack level to play that slide shot across onto the shot bowl.
Half a chance if he clears the front. Here we go. This is close to a bowl.
Very close indeed.
Good shot. Two well-played bowls there from Richard Hocking. That's fine.
Well played, mate.
You couldn't ask for much more, could you? Certainly he's got one locked right on top of the jack, but of course the chance now for Aiden is to get a touch on the back of that bowl. Jack will move directly back to where that Richard Hocking bowl is sitting.
Absolutely, and like you said before, to be fair, it wouldn't be horrible if he drew to the point. the point of the bowl. If he's looking just to play a little bit less weight, if he finishes wide of the bowl and slightly short of it, it gives him a bowl to use. So instead of it being a one bowl target with every bowl he plays, he could create a slightly bigger target for himself there.
And I'm sure Kelvin Scott won't want to give a shoulder, as it's best termed, to Aiden Takarua, so he'll want to make sure if he's going to score.
He'll be hoping he's passed, and Aiden and Richard will be willing this bowl to stop about there.
Now.
About there.
Well,
they're both gone.
Well, that does, to be fair now, Alex, that does allow that plant shot onto
he's going to hit that.
Kelvin Scott bowl.
So the question is, how far away is the black bowl from the jack? Because if it's touching the jack, we're going to see jack movement. But if it isn't touching,
it could go straight
those
out.
bowls could just disappear, and we'll be seeing Richard sit with 2.
It's no sense in trying to be.
There we go. It's going out clean, I reckon.
So that can be cannon out of the head, hit on the
see.
outside.
I really wanted to see him get that.
Yeah.
That's okay. He's actually improved the situation slightly. He's cannoned off one of the black bowls.
Well, it's removed it means that the Kelvin Scott side that don't now have a bowl over the
At
head.
the back, yeah. I think they're committed to this course of action here. You're not going to draw the shot there,
No, you're not.
Kev?
No, you're not.
So they're committed. They've got 2nd and 3rd and 5th or 6th. We'll see Aiden have a couple of goes.
And the danger is you can play that sort of what I would call ditch type weight to it, but then you've got to get exactly right to hold up to that line.
Yep.
So that's exactly the right shot that Aiden's playing, and now Kelvin Scott, as we thought, he wants to get down deep on the rink, down towards the deepest bowl on the rink, because it's about the line of the jack.
Here we go.
So
we'll see if they go off clean on his backhand again. Looking to make a correction is Aiden Takarua. Let it go up the middle.
On the drive, trying to get to them.
It's a lucky result. Didn't get a lucky result. That's gone horribly wrong. That's
well, it could be 3 down.
Yeah. We'll see what happens here.
But he's still got to play it again.
I think so, because he's reducing 2, isn't he?
Yeah, there's no way that it's going to be drawn. And take a deep breath, Aiden. Walk up, have a look, have a look at that target again. Don't worry. It's one of those things. Don't worry too much about the number, because there's not a lot you can do about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the decision he has to make now is, after 2 drives, can you draw? Is it easier to draw a 3rd shot to cut it down to 2, or is it easier to hit that bowl to cut it down to 2, or potentially kill it?
I think he'll attack.
I'd probably have a go. I suspect.
You just got to back your confidence, don't you? That you know that. And I was surprised it was a line of both of the bowls, actually.
So we'll see him here on his backhand.
He's going for the save in.
Seeing how close he can draw.
So
down to his weight now.
Could be 4 down.
That hand does swing, so hopefully...
He's got to swing now.
He needs it to break. He needs it to break.
Doesn't want to touch this. They've got to get around it to reduce anything.
Yeah, that's a disappointing end for the Takarua and Hocking combination.
3, I would say.
I suppose Richard and Barry would know each other quite well, Kev.
Club mates here at Burnside. I must admit that this position that we see right now is the score will either go to 9 or 10.
Yeah, it's the break in a game, isn't it? You know, it's an end that it didn't really look like a big number was going to happen for.
No, it did not
for the Scott Williams combination. But they've found one. They found a 3 or a 4 there. We'll know in a second when the marker puts it up on the board.
Well, they literally drew 2, and the rest were a bit sort of conceded to them from the way how
the shot selection was fine. It was just unfortunate that he was a bit off target with his 2 bowls, and the head just sort of got better and then it got worse.
I was surprised that Aiden, to be fair. I thought he would have, but that sort of shot was right up his sort of...
Yeah, he's very accurate with that sort of bowling. He doesn't need to be asked twice to hit something.
No, I was going to say, his suite of shots is something that he's quite, that particular shot was, he's pretty consistent with, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. So we've seen, what are we on, N7, so we've still got a while to go now. And again, if you're Aiden and Richard, you're not panicking yet, but you sort of want to get on the scoreboard and just start working away on just scoring a couple of points. All you need is 2 or 3 scoring ends, and you're back right within.
Oh, you'd like to pick up a 3 or something now if you can.
Just to start off with,
and get you. But it's about this first bowl effectiveness, which, okay, there's a bit of room there now for Richard, but to be fair, Barry Williams has created that first bowl effectiveness consistently.
He's played very well. And even though Richard has played good bowls, I do think if we see, when we see Aiden and Richard score, we will see a different length jack thrown from Richard Hocking. It may be that he moves the mat up and throws the jack to the 2, or he might throw the jack halfway up the rink and keep the mat on the 2 metre mark at his end. But something different, not because you're going badly, but because your opposition is going well.
Well, that shot then, Aiden would have been, Richard would be deeply disappointed because it was the opportunity just to sneak past the Barry Williams bowl.
Yeah, you think to yourself, here's a good chance.
I've got a meter now to, here's the doors open. And just to let you know those other games that are going on, we've got Gary Lawson playing Kelvin Scott in one of the other quarterfinals, Steve Beale playing Taylor Horn, and Andrew Kelly playing Paul Matheson, and the semi-final of the women's pairs. Women's singles, my apologies, are well underway as well, where we've got the 2 blackjacks, Taylor Bruce, and up against Selena Goddard, and we've got former blackjack Mandy Boyd up against New Zealand squad member Claire Hendra. So 4 very good players left.
The women's singles is going to be fantastic. I think I'd be reticent to pick a winner out of those 4.
Any one of those 4 are capable. Now here's Richard Hocking now is going to draw the shot for Aiden Takarua. And is this the end where they're going to change over holding and start the opportunity to score?
Yeah, that's a good point too, Kevin, because Richard and Barry have had a good battle, but on the changeover, probably more often than not, probably the last 5 of the 7 ends, we've seen Barry Williams holding the shot on the changeover. Good position from Red, but sometimes it's that psychological thing. You cross over holding shot, you're looking to add position. You cross over one down, you need to be changing the head.
Well, here's the good thing here now for the Aiden Takarua side is that the centre line's clogged up. Yep. So, the line to the jack is beating those 2 front bowls, and then you're going to have a good counting bowl, and you're also cutting off the visual effect from Kelvin Scott from the mat from the other end. So he'll be endeavouring to...
And a good chance here from Richard Hocking to put one right on the jack.
Absolutely.
Cross over 2 up, go there, Kelvin.
Well, he's got that's a good green to do that. Just the question, how far is this going to run?
Needs it to break back.
Aiden just trying to stop. That's a good bowl.
Great bowl, great shot. That's a perfect end. If they can hold on to this, they can hold on to a scoring end here, they'll be feeling much, much better about how this game is progressing.
Well, as you know, Alex, things can change fairly quickly, can't they? A couple of ends can, and we've seen it already in this national event.
Yes,
it can just go like that.
Well, all the players who've made it through to this point are well performed and capable of doing anything on a bowling green, aren't they?
Oh, certainly are.
And they all know that as well. Kelvin is 9-0 up, but he'll be thinking, I've seen Aiden play bowls before.
Well,
I could blink and we could drop a number.
Kelvin's viewpoint is it's 1-0.
Yeah. So you're right. You have to keep that foot on the gas pedal, so to speak. You have to keep trying to consistently score ends, because any of the players here, if you give them a sniff of blood, that's how you create a successful record on bowls. Aiden and Richard both have multiple centre titles. You don't do that without having that little killer instinct.
You don't own the scoreboard. You just got to manage the scoreboard. And Kelvin Scott, of course, has been around, as we know, for many years. The 59-year-old
here we go.
plasterer.
What's that? 4-all. Rod.
That's the Andrew Kelly game. That's with the game against Paul Matheson and Rod Greeny. That's 4 apiece.
And Ros Gillett hops into frame there. He's one of the other quarterfinals playing with Steve Beale. So 4 each in that quarterfinal. That's a close game.
Well, Aiden's gone out. You can see right there.
Tracking.
Right there, you can see that. It was a good example of it for the viewers. Just as it came past that last camera, you just saw that line just hold. Whereas inside that particular point on the green, you're seeing them coming back towards the centre line.
Yeah.
And you could just see for about a 6-foot track of the bowl that it was just holding there.
It's the sort of hand that you're happy to have a heavy biased bowl on.
Absolutely.
You break through that tracking pattern, your bowl will come back for you.
So Kelvin Scott, he'll be endeavouring to just beat his own bowl. Doesn't like it out of the hand.
At all.
Doesn't like it. We'll see in but a moment where it's heading. And must have been on going past, in fact.
I wonder if it slipped or if he was looking to do something. Probably just overplayed, I think, Kevin. Maybe just a moment of
so Aiden's just got to concentrate to make sure he's inside that line of where that last bowl, his first bowl, finished.
There's a chance where Kelvin's been where Kelvin's been reasonably ineffective so far. So you want to just be plugging bowls into the air and make the most of this opportunity to score a number. He needs to use the inside of his one. Breaking back. It was a much better line.
Much better line. Just out of the count there.
So I'll be looking. We'll see what Kelvin does next. I think Aiden will just be on his backhand drawing for 3. Get started off with a 3. They'll have a chat about what length of head they've been playing. It might be the time to talk about what hand you want to lead off on as well.
Yeah, and I think that's from Richard Hocking's point of view. He's at the point of the game now where he wants to get some consistency with that. What his hand preference?
Yeah, this is close here from Kelvin. They might not get that chance.
Well, you see the kindness of that draw, don't you?
Yeah. I think it still looks like one red, doesn't it? So
yeah, it still looks like the red in behind the 2 metre mark, the centre line.
We'll see a change of length, I think, when Richard throws the jack up. But to your point before, we've seen Williams nailing the forehand on the clubhouse side going this way. If Richard plays his backhand and finishes slightly narrow and slightly short, what hand does Williams have to play?
Well, of course, straight away you get the scenario where, well, don't mean to do it, but you're in a position where you may well start to get a bit of steering of the bowl where you're either under it or hanging outside it.
Yep.
So this is a different line from Aiden.
To get on the score, to improve the position on the scoreboard here, he's just slightly overplayed that bowl, I think. Beautiful green.
Yeah, you can see it was a far different line.
It's got to be red there, so here we go. Is the mat coming up or is the jack going short? That is the question. We see Richard go for a walk with the mat, bringing it about halfway up. That's a good call, and I think we'll see the jack maybe a few feet shy of the 2 metre mark. And
of course now you just got to make sure there is Gary Lawson up 7-2 in his match over Kelvin Jackson. It's Gary Lawson and Tony Grantham leading Kelvin Jackson by 7 shots to 2 after 6 of the 18 ends and the men's Summerset men's peers quarterfinal.
That's a formidable team, isn't it? Get the Gary Lawson and Tony Grantham combination.
Good side. So the jack's just low of the 2 metre mark. So it's a metre low, but of course the mat is up quite some distance.
That's perfect. That's where Aiden would have asked it to be. You have the jack reasonably close to the ditch, so if you're aggressive, the jack's more likely to go into the ditch than out of bounds. And he'll be leading off on his backhand as well. Yep, good. This is all good. This is all the stuff that they would have been speaking about when you're a few down on a card. And now he wants to force Williams onto the forehand side, which he hasn't quite done.
He'd be disappointed with that. And he certainly had the line to the jack, but was missing 2 metres of weight. Now, Barry Williams, as we've seen consistently.
You don't want to allow someone to continue to be...
Don't gift them the
good.
hand.
Yeah. So on his four, he's drawn a toucher on this way the last 2 times, has Barry Williams. So we'll see if it's 3 out of 3. Getting close as we see it go past Kelvin's knee. That's been a good shot there from Barry Williams.
And that's
again.
that consistency with that first bowl effectiveness, isn't it?
So we're going to see Richard switch to the forehand now and try and follow that bowl down. He'll be looking for the 2 metre mark.
See Mike Kernahan there. There's some updates.
So we've got updates in the men's quarterfinals. Oh, we've got updates in everything. That's good, isn't it? Where are we going? So Beale and Horn, Taylor Horn and Jesse Russell, they won the New Zealand Open pairs a number of years ago. Kevin, they're leading Beale and Ross Gillett 10 points to 6 after 8 ends. We've seen the Lawson one. So I suppose in the women's singles, that's an interesting score, isn't it?
It's a very interesting score. Claire Hendra v. Mandy Boyd, with Claire Hendra up 13-6 in the race to 21.
Good again, Barry.
And the Taylor Bruce Selena Goddard game, well, that's anybody's at 7 apiece, isn't it?
Yep.
And the game between Andrew Kelly and Rod Greeny, that's 4 apiece. So one of those semi-finals very tight. Taylor Horn's got a handy little break there. Lawson's got a handy little break.
Yeah, it's interesting. Rod Greeny and Paul Matheson, Zumi, won the pre-nationals peers event.
I saw that.
So I think that'd be a good little bet to go. Not that we have betting, but I think that'd be a good pick to go real deep in this tournament. They're obviously in form as a peers combination.
I saw that, and there's a pretty good field as well in that event. So here's
square and follow. A bit of luck for the Richard. Just about.
I think that might have been a bit of the case. Let's get something, clear the brain, or clear the head a bit, and
I wouldn't
whack something down there, because at the moment, Barry Williams.
Just over the top's good, mate.
Barry Williams is certainly making life challenging off the front,
he's playing really well. So they need to look away. And Richard's still going good, but they had to look at a way to stop Barry from playing well. So they tried that. That's why they brought the mat up and threw the jack there. But Richard, unfortunately, fell that little bit short with his first bowl, and Barry was able to persist on that hand that he's been nailing, and we're going to see 3 bowls within a foot here.
It's that first bowl effectiveness, as we said, and consistency. And I heard...
brilliant. That's great leading.
That's as good as you'll get, isn't it? In pairs, 3 bowls, all over the head. One sitting right on the back of the jack. And that's pressure from, this... Really, you could say that, and no disrespect to Richard Hocking, but it's a singles head now for Aiden Takarua to have to play to, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. He's going to have to. There's a bit of work to do with this one.
Well, second shot, and then see where you can go from there.
Yeah, you've got to do a bit of work. It's a 2 or 3 part system, so it means you have to play 3 effective bowls. Aiden just waiting for someone to move off the peg line there. Depends where you take your line, if that annoys you or not. I never look far enough up to notice the people on the bank.
Well, when I played a long time ago, it was always I tend to work on trying to find that point on the green as my breaking point.
So you see,
and it's a.
Yeah, he'll be disappointed with that.
He will be, but he can adjust back a metre to get to the second shot position.
He can, and he knows he's got a good line, so he'll just be looking to make that good correction.
So in those women's pairs, Claire Hendra leading Mandy Boyd 13-6. That's a wee bit, well, nothing surprising, but we'll just wait and see what happens. Still a long way to go, but that's a good position for Claire Hendra.
A great position for Claire, and she's obviously looking to avenge her Peers final loss.
Yes.
It's disappointing, I would imagine, to lose a national final, so you get another chance at the Summerset Nationals, because we run 2 events to make amends for a disappointing result.
Oh, of course, she had that similar result a couple of years back at Papanui.
Yes, she did. Yeah.
And her teammate, of course, Taylor Bruce, and playing Selena Goddard. That's all locked up 7 apiece.
I suppose if they both get through to the final, one of them's going to... one of them will win 1 out of 2. Aiden here on his forehand again, looking to make that correction out of his hand nicely. Just walking up after that, that's a good call.
Oh, it's a better line.
The head. How's the weight?
It's a better line than
a lot
first.
of interest in this one. This is close to perfect.
That's
close to perfect.
Got
what
that
a
jack.
bomb.
What a bowl. And really unlucky because that wide, non-intentional positioning ball where Kelvin
went before down now.
Went to that position out there. But of course, we do know that even then with Kelvin Scott, regardless of 2 bowls to come, is would be more than capable. Taking a long time to come back towards the centre. Is this bowl? In fact,
it's overplayed it.
It's taking a long time to get back, and we'll finish outside what I call the standing line.
The standing line, yeah, that works. Great shot there from Aiden.
So
turning the head right around, really.
You've just seen that bowler, Kelvin Scott. You're behind on the board 9-1. You're 1 down. Do you now be adventurous to say, right, we're going to play for the bowl? And then you've got to draw the shot, Kelvin. Yeah,
you could give it a go. I think they indicated, I saw Richard Nain there indicate a forehand shot, so they're not going to be playing that. But it would have crossed their mind. If there's a way to get rid of it, it depends how short that red one is. You could go square through that and try cannon the white off. But he'll be pretty happy having played that second bowl. That would have been such an easy shot to miss.
Well, he was on a great line. He's just unlucky where the jack actually rolled to, because he certainly played it perfectly.
Needs this one to break.
This needs to get inside. Starts to move on the inside now. Won't do so.
Could get a bit of luck. Outside edge of that.
That's one of his own bowls. Richard Hocking bowl needed to turn that into the head and was only a smidgen away from not getting a touch on that back of that bowl.
Could have got a fortuitous result there.
He could have, and this head really is the best bowl. Has been the one that was played by Aiden Takarua with his second bowl really, and got the bad luck out of it. Really,
Yeah, he did. So we'll see if Kelvin can make it even more into double figures or not. But as it stands, it's going to be 10-1 after 8 ends. So there's 10 to go after this. Kelvin on his backhand, be looking just to stack it up. He'll try and remember what he did with his first one and repeat that
well,
dose.
He's definitely on a different line than what the second, but it's not moving much towards the bat. He gets past this bowl, it would go close to counting, and will.
In for 2, I reckon. He had 2 there indicated. So Scott and Williams break into double figures. 11-1 up after 8 ends of 18. We're halfway at the halfway mark. It's no time limit again, Kev, so it can go on. It goes on for 18 ends, or unless it's mathematically impossible. But I think we'll see a game plan shift from the Hocking Takarua combination.
They've got to change something around, don't they?
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bit of aggression come out in the last half of this game and see a few kills happen. If it's ugly position, we'll just see a couple of drive from a first bowl.
Now you can enlighten me here, Alex. I haven't got the draw sheet in front of me. Andrew Kelly's at the bottom of the draw, I believe. Is that right?
That sounds right. Stand by. I'll use our Bowls Hub Aotearoa system, Kev, that anyone can access the results portal.
And well done to Bowls New Zealand with their new Bowls Hub results. Well, everything, stand-ins, all sorts of things.
Yeah, he's at the bottom of the draw. So the winner of Andrew Kelly and Rodney Graney plays the winner of Steve Beale and Taylor Horn. And the winner of this match plays the winner of the Gary Lawson-Kelvin Jackson matchup.
Because let's say Lawson gets through and let's say Kelvin Scott gets through. Remembering that Kelvin Scott beat Gary Lawson in the back end of the singles as well the other day on his way to
yes, it'll be a great game of bowls.
And of course, both players part of the Elmwood Park Bowls 3-5 side.
Yes, and they've played a lot of bowls together as well. We had
they have. I
was
looking through here in the centre sides and of Kelvin Scott's wins, and there's 2 things that are constant: Kelvin Scott and Gary Lawson. And these centre title. A
large number of in-centre titles they've both won. I mean, nearing 10, I would think. And the hard titles to win as well.
Brilliant.
See, Barry Williams.
Going good, mate.
To me, he's the to date, he's the star of the show.
He's in great touch. He's been really steady. He's given Kelvin everything on the. We've played 9 ends. The crossover, he's probably held shot on 6 or 7 of those.
And as you know, Alex, in pairs, if you can get that one of your early bowls on that front of the jack, right on that centre line, and sitting in front of the jack, it certainly makes the head.
It's a good start.
It is. It just.
The good thing though about Richard is he's missing past, which is good.
Yes.
There's still been.
It's
an 11-1 difference halfway, but there's still been opportunities there for the Takarua and Hocking combination to make something happen, and there still will be for the last half. It's just how much they can make happen in the time that is left.
So here is Barry Williams from the Burnside Club, the Green Superintendent here at Burnside, and you heard Kelvin Scott saying, "You're looking good again, Barry."
That's brilliant
and
bowling.
This is just outstanding.
Absolutely brilliant bowling from Barry, and the head's staggered out. It's hard to hit. It's a 1-bowl target. Everything's 2 or 3 bowls away from each other. You could chip off a bowl and make no real difference there if you were looking to be aggressive.
Well, it still left them owning the head, didn't it? That's and when they're sitting on that centre line in front there, we know front bowls can be fatal, but when it's locked in those positions, it's only creating a 1-bowl target for your opponent. And the danger is, of course, then you start to try and force your way to the jack.
The line, right?
This needs perfect
and
weight.
this is
This
on a
needs
great
perfect
line.
weight. It's
This
close from
bowler,
Richard Hocking.
Hawkins is going to get back to the centre line. This is close.
Down
This
you
bowl.
come.
This is an outstanding lawn bowl.
Good shot. Good bowl there from Richard Hocking. It's showing a lot of fight. The
Certainly
Takarua
was.
and Hocking combination.
I thought he actually had the trail then. I thought he was getting right to the jack to get it trailed around the corner.
We see David indicating one red there, which is one to Scott. And well, that was confusing because Richard's got a red bowl.
Yeah, true.
One to the Scott Williams combination. So they're holding on, but a good shot there from Richard. And again, we see he's missed past with a couple and he's got one close-ish. There are chances here.
Well, it does give Aiden that touch trail opportunity, doesn't it? You know, you're not. And the good thing is, Alex, you're not trying to play through bowls at the front to get to the head. You can play down with confidence to get that touch.
See Kelvin on the forehand. It's taken a high line, but we do know it does come back. It comes back nicely there, so we'll see how much swing there is in the last metre or so of this bowl's run. Just finishing in the area where you can't stand. And we'll see Aiden on his backhand.
So Aiden Takarua would desperately like to get touch it on the jack or sit inside the shot bowl.
We'll see where it is in a second. He's on a high-ish line. If he's got perfect weight, he might get some late swing. Even if he's stacking up second and third shots, it's not horrible. So you get good weight there.
Jack
Richard
level
clipping
weight.
the yeah. It is a hard one because when you know it's a holding hand and you've got that short bowl there, we can see.
Well,
Barry
that
Williams
short
in the
bowl
way.
is really a narky bowl.
Right in your eye,
yeah,
It's just a
right
big
in
piece
your
of
bowl,
mud.
which just changes that. I'm not going to say ditch weight, but the weight that you can play to move straight down to the jack.
Kelvin looking at this one.
Well,
It's going to go a little bit past.
he'll be quite happy to. Now the target area, of course, for Aiden Takarua is to get into between that port, between the Barry Williams shortest bowl and Aiden Takarua's first bowl itself. And that port, in fact, is a direct line to the jack.
It is, and Kelvin and Barry are in a position where they're 10 up halfway. They're just worried. Well, they're not worried. They'll just be focusing on keeping the numbers down. And this bowl.
Well, that was the line, but see, there's the difficulty, or the challenge, I should say, Alex, with that front black bowl, a metre and a...
Yeah, you have to clear it, and you have to clear it perfectly, and you have to have maybe 4 feet less weight than what Aiden just...
So, where that bowl's positioned, it means you've really got to be dead drawing to get a touch on the jack. That bowl wasn't there. You could play that weight that Aiden
much better
just played
shot,
with more shot options to it. But just the way how it's located just really leaves you with the draw to get past that last metre.
It becomes a challenge, and we see Kelvin on his forehand again. He'll be looking just to rest Richard Hocking's red bowl on his forehand.
Well, he's tightened his
line
line up.
Hold for.
He's
got
tightened
that
his
lovely
line.
weight.
He's close.
Diving.
He's close.
Brilliant.
That changes dimension now, doesn't it?
Absolutely brilliant shot.
Now, we saw Kelvin Scott do that a number of times in that singles final, Alex, whereby he just with that literally draw on a bowl weight just dislodged bowls.
They're beautiful bowls, and it's such a hard bowl. Anyone who plays bowls knows how difficult it is to do that. You're looking to rest on a bowl 3 bowls out, and they're an effective shot because your collision bowl hangs around, but they're so difficult to play and a sign of good touch.
So, Aiden Takarua just wanting to sit on the bowl.
Oh, that's unfortunate. He played that well if you look where Aiden's bowl finished, but didn't get quite close enough. So we see 2.5 here to the Scott and Williams combination. Barry just measuring for that third shot. David, the umpire, or the marker, lollipop man.
Thank you, David.
Will indicate to us what's happening.
Looked like 3.
Three there. Thank you. One of the plethora of volunteers at the Summerset Nationals.
So that's 5 shots now in the last 2 ends, Alex, which starts to really pile the pressure on. And yes, thank you to Mark Bain, the marker, doing a wonderful job.
I think with 2 markers, or I've got or I've been confused. So I think that one's David. I'm
Right.
sure his name is David, and the other one is Mark Bain. And
Right,
they've both been volunteering during the Nationals.
And they've both done a great job.
Yes, they have both done a great job, David and Mark.
I remarked the other day, Alex, and this has been the old, it was when Brett O'Reilly was with me. This is the purist coming out, I suppose. There's nothing better to see the sunshine out, a crowd, and watching playing on a green where the green is so good that the drawing is, you just watch it, just like we're seeing here. It's like sitting in a sort of watching a English village crowd.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's something peaceful about it.
Yeah, and to be able to watch on good greens, good players, sun shines out, no wind, it's really, to me, it highlights literally the beauty of the sport, that the sport for all.
I agree with you, Kev. We've seen a great example of that. We've seen a great example of that all week, to be fair, at the Summerset Nationals.
Well, one thing as well, that in Canterbury, and I have always said this, and this is a big compliment to the Canterbury clubs, it's the way how they present their clubs as well. The gardens and surrounds, and they're always, if you have a look here at Burnside, it's a lovely, it's a park-like setting, and gardens all around the clubhouse and the greens. And it just makes, and the same out at Sumner the other day, we were at Belfast, and it just, they do it very, very well down here.
No, I agree. It's been brilliant, and it is brilliant, and it will continue to be brilliant, I think, Kev. And I've no doubt that in years to come we will see more Bowls New Zealand national events hosted in this region.
Well, we are somewhat now, not panic stations, but I just wonder whether, looking at the body language on the last head, whether we just had a bit of a switch off of which can happen.
I think we'll see an aggressive game plan for the last 18s. I think we'll see bowls played, and it'll either work for them or it won't. They're either going to drop bundles, get bundles, or keep killing it.
So is it still the intention, Alex, with Bowls New Zealand? The traditional has been Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, Dunedin have been our venues for nationals. And now the great idea of taking the fours and mixed pairs to, like last year, the Central Otago, this year the Taranaki, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But as far as the singles and pairs are concerned, are we now still at 4 venues or 3 venues or 2 venues?
Yeah, there's probably 2 or 3. I think there's actually, if you think about how big the national events are, and they haven't really, we've seen stable numbers for the last 5 or 6 years, and in that time we've seen a lessening of the amount of greens available and the amount of clubs around as they consolidate, as they should be, as they're consolidating to become stronger bowling hubs. It becomes difficult to actually find a place that can host the nationals. There's Auckland, there's Christchurch. You could probably find 1 or 2 other centres around the place. So we'll see the big events, the national singles.
Wellington and the combination of the Hutt Valley, does that work?
Yeah, you could get enough clubs there as well. So there's probably 2 or 3.
My message, my message as well, especially back to Auckland, is don't strangle yourself with the emphasis of artificial greens, because as we see down here in Christchurch, the natural surface is still the surface to play on.
You're going to get your best bowls.
Absolutely.
What we want to play on as well as bowlers predominantly. So we see a sort of loose head here. Not much has happened.
This is the loosest head, to be fair, Alex, that we've seen, isn't it? As we play the 10th of Aiden Takarua, he'll be desperately wanting to draw the shot because the gate has been left open for him.
If he clears the front, he's close here. This is a close bowl.
Got to get past this front. He's not going to. And, of course, that just loads another bowl up. 1, 2, 3, 5 bowls now. Lower the jack. And to be fair to the players, Alex, we haven't seen that many short bowls. It's been...
No, we haven't.
It's been pretty good in that regard.
The score doesn't look great, but the heads have been quite tight. And we've got some updates for you now.
So Claire Hendra now leading Mandy Boyd by 15 shots to 9 in the race to 21. It's Claire Hendra of Wellington up against Mandy Boyd, 15-9. Taylor Bruce got a 3-shot break on Selena Goddard. As we see,
Kelvin them in there.
Draw the shot right in front, 11-8. tightened up now in the Lawson-Jackson game now. And 12-2 now after 9 ends gone. It's Gary Lawson leading. In the Beale-Horn game, it is Taylor Horn leading Steve Beale after 10 ends by 11 shots to 7. And in the Kelly-Graney game, it's 9 ends gone, and it's Andrew Kelly and Seamus Curtin leading Rod Graney and Paul Matheson by 6 shots to 4. So 2 of those pairs games really, anybody's game at this point. The Taylor Bruce Selena Goddard game, that's still very tight. 15-9 with the Claire Hendra Mandy Boyd game, and Mandy Boyd sure 6 behind, but still not the door's not closed.
Yeah, good games going on the rinks out and about.
And our next game that we'll be bringing you live will be the final of the Summerset National Women's Singles. And are we going to see Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra playing 2 finals?
Well, what a story that would be, making the pairs final as a combination and then facing off against each other in a singles final. And that's one of the interesting things about bowls, I think, Kev, is we spend a lot of time playing bowls in teams, but we also spend a lot of time beating each other up at bowls as well. It can be a challenge when you look at rep sides and rep events, when you get those teams together, 7 or 10 players who spend the season ripping each other to shreds and are then expected to act as a team. What a great sport.
So Aiden Takarua, he knows he's on the wide side. This is bad.
Yeah, it's getting a bit dire.
This is a big number.
I would say it's dire at this point for the Takarua and Hocking combination.
I think they all count.
Yeah, I mean, you got 7 ends to go. You're going to be quite a few down. You either stop or you just become super aggressive.
Correct.
That's your 2 options. Aiden's got a good drive on him. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, he'll be thinking, maybe when I cross over, if I'm down, I drive, and if I'm up, I draw.
I was waiting for him to go to that black ball because I thought that black ball was in the count, and it is.
Handful there. I'm not sure if there is enough light there. He's got an extra lollipop. That's good. So 5 there to the Kelvin Scott and Barry Williams combination, and
10 scored in the last 3 ends.
Yeah, they're playing really good bowls. They'll be a formidable combination if they make it through to that semi-final, which is looking likely at this point.
If they make it through and Gary Lawson holds on to his lead, I think the battle between Tony Grantham and Barry Williams will be a good battle.
Barry's played exceptionally well with his first ball effectiveness, as you say, and Kelvin's done what he needs to do, really. I think we will see a switch. You know, Aiden and Richard have to become more aggressive. Get Richard to put 3 bowls past the head. If Aiden's down on the crossover, you try and kill it. If he's not, he can look to develop something. There's no point in
take the scoreboard away from it, Alex. Aiden Takarua and Richard Hocking are far better players than what the scoreboard indicates.
They're great bowlers, and even the heads have been good. To be fair, it's just that Scott Williams keeps scoring points.
Well, the big thing, of course, as well, is that Barry Williams hasn't the last 2 ends, but in the previous 8 ends prior to that, has had that first bowl whereby it has been literally centimetres away from the jack. And
number of ends, the Hocking Takarua combinations had 2nd and 3rd, or bowls in and around the head. They just haven't been able to convert those into scoring ends. Good start there from Hocking, 1 pass. That's what they're looking for. If you're Scott Williams, you just try and stay focused, aren't you? You want to play with that same intensity you've been playing for the previous 10 ends.
Absolutely. So if you're in the Christchurch area, come down here to Burnside. It's free admission, providing you've got your COVID pass, which you'll be asked for at the gate. But please come down here to the Burnside Bowling Club, and just in the Avonhead Road area, and you'll be treated to watching the best in action in the last 2 rounds, which are left here in the Summerset National Championships, where we'll have, in our next round, of course, we'll have the final of the women's singles, and then this afternoon we'll have the final of the men's pairs. So get down, if you're in the Christchurch area, get in the car, come down to Burnside.
It'll be worth your while. There's cold beverages available.
Great catering.
Catering at the venue as well, which has been exceptional. One of the best, fantastic Afghan biscuits at the catering.
Oh.
I think I finished their stock of Afghan biscuits.
Oh, you've done that, have you?
There's none left now, but they were nice. I enjoyed them. Got me through some long days. It's been long days at the Burnside Bowling Club.
Well,
it
has
Summerset Nationals.
for yourself and Alex in the chart room. It's certainly, it is a big week. Look at this from Williams. Look at this just coming in toward change a hand and
shot.
draws right in behind. Well, that's first class play.
Yep, Aiden looking for a bowler jack movement, be a metre past. He says, and on his forehand is Richard. Lovely delivery, let it go nice on the forehand. Just looking to be effective here. How's the line? Trying. It's trying.
Going to hold long enough to the jack, is it?
Still trying. This is close.
Well played
Good
from
shot.
Richard Hocking.
Good shot. So there's that slightly more, they've got nothing to lose here. They'll be looking to just build the heads and make numbers out of it. So one there for...
Well, and from Kelvin Scott's point of view, they can play the second shot game, can't they?
Yes.
And that's the advantage, of course, of this, being able to control the scoreboard is second shot game.
So we see Kelvin on his forehand. I always find it hard to tell what hand Kelvin's going to play, Kev, because his feet point in the same direction.
It is.
I think he needs to... what's the word I'm looking for? It's not very nice to us as commentators trying to figure out what hand he's going to play if his feet point in the same direction.
Well, the thing is, it's been like it for a long time.
Yeah, and it's quite effective. I mean, it is quite effective.
And
it goes okay.
As you'll see here, just going to fall outside what is the shot bowl.
I just need to get you over twice, don't I? Even if I lose my bowl next one.
Oh, yeah. So we see Anne right there, the president of Bowls New Zealand, watching on intently, and the vice president of Bowls New Zealand on the left there, Philip from Wanganui, and I think his son in the middle who went quite well on the singles. So we see Aiden lining up on his backhand. Just trying to get on the scoreboard for that second time at this point and see what happens from there. It's a holding hand. How is it? He's trying to get up a little bit. It's close there to sneaking in for second shot, but he's just going to be a bit shy on the weight. If he swings a bit, it's not bad because he's blocked up, or sort of nearly clogging up Kelvin Scott's
Still
line.
off Richard though, isn't it?
Yeah, Kelvin not changing that much. He'll stay on the forehand, looking to draw through that and lift Barry Williams' bowl that you can see at 6 o'clock on the screen up 2 or 3 rolls. Here we go. Got such good touch, does Kelvin Scott, and I would hate, someone should work it out, but he's played a few bowls this week.
Certainly has, and he it's interesting.
I haven't got the line. Turn.
Well, he's not far away. Just going to get there.
Oh,
Talking to Kelvin after the final, he was, let's say, a last-minute entry.
yes, he was. He was a last-minute entry into the singles. Great story there. I think his wife allowed him to play the national singles. He said, we're back a bit early. You can play if you want.
Yeah, I believe they came back a day early, and that meant that they arranged to come back a day early, which meant that that Kelvin could line up in the singles, which he then duly did.
Yep.
And got to line up then with Barry Williams in the pairs, and here we are. He's got a national singles title, his second national singles title in the bag.
Yep, it's not bad, is it? Not a bad little bit of work there from Kelvin. He flicked us a message after the entry dates were closed and was put on a waiting list, and enough people pulled out that he was shunted into that empty spot.
And there is New Zealand singles title holder.
Yep. I wouldn't encourage everyone to wait till after the closing date.
Let go.
Needs to be
close
inside
here.
the
He's close
line.
here.
Needs to fall in, not out.
Just add 2. Just make it 2 here. And is it time for something dramatic from Richard Hocking? Does he pull the mat right up and throw the jack to the 2 metre?
I think
something dramatic?
You've got to do something.
He's got to do everything he can to put Barry Williams off his game. He's been...
Aiden Takarua is on that tighter line that we've spoken about. And that's the line. That's the line for sure. Just got feathered on the front, but will score.
scored again, so they've doubled their score, Kev.
They have.
And we'll
they have.
see Richard take the mat right up, I think.
I think that's
he's
the
comfortable. Yeah, good call there. And chucking the jack. So we see they trail by 17 points, and we have 7 ends to go.
So at this early stage, Alex, the mixed pairs and fours in Taranaki, how are the entries? Got entries coming in?
We've had a few. The entries close on the 1st of February, so there's plenty of time for anyone looking to enter. Just go to our Bowls New Zealand website and have a look. We'll be pushing it a bit after the national singles and pairs have finished.
Yes.
But we've had a few sort of come in, just into double figures probably for that sort of thing. But a few very organised people getting their entries in on time. What's good about the fours entry, Kev, is when you sign up to Bowls Hub Aotearoa, you get given a membership number. So when I enter my team, if I'm entering a team of fours, I don't need to know your full name and contact details.
It's all there.
It's all there. I just need your membership number. That's all I need. So we've guaranteed we're going to get the spelling right on the names, and it should make life a bit easier for those entering.
Look, I just say to bowlers out there watching this coverage throughout the day, the change last year of the fours and playing the mixed pairs at the same time was, to me, was I'll be honest about it, I was a bit sceptical, I suppose, unsure more than anything of how the mixed pairs scenario would work, how it would tie in. Well, as we all know, we can speak about it forever. We were just amazed and astounded and delighted of how the bowlers around the countryside responded, and the entries which we had in the fours, and of course in those mixed pairs. And I just urge the people, especially those in, let's say, the Taranaki, Wanganui, Waikato area, come down to Taranaki and the Taranaki side. Support this tournament. It's a fantastic event, and make up your I realise we've got the Taranaki Opens fours and the Taranaki Women's Open fours as well, but come to New Plymouth. You get looked after. Great greens. There's no doubt about that, and also you'll have the opportunity of having section play of 2 days and 2 days of section play in the mixed pairs.
Yep.
So you're guaranteed 4 days of bowls in the picturesque Taranaki. Now, did you know that New Plymouth or Taranaki won the award for the most sunshine hours in New Zealand?
Did they?
They did.
Oh, that bodes well for the national events. We're going to
I was somewhat surprised, but it did.
Maybe the machine was broken.
So get your entry in. You'll thoroughly enjoy the week down there in Taranaki. They're great hosts, great greens. Get a club team or composite team from within your area, and Bowls New Zealand assure you of a great week.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It'll be a good time, and it's good to see that mixed pairs competition enter our sort of as an open national event. It's, I think, just another step. We amalgamated in 1997. It only took 23 years to get a mixed pairs competition up and running for an open national. We had one in the past as a Silver Star event, but it's a Gold Star event now as the mixed pairs is an open national title, and good to see it going. And I'm sure that Laurie, Guy and Sarah will be there to defend their title.
And if I think back, Alex, and what you've just said in that regard, if I think back of my years of administration, the combination of our men and women would have been, in the last 20 years, more than likely the most challenging environment that we've had. But the great thing which has happened now, it's all very, very integrated. Clubs play all mixed events, and it's certainly
it's a great space, and it just goes further. Our sport is for everyone, and we're a good mix. So. A good space we
are. So the mixed pairs now, and it's interesting talking to Brett O'Reilly and myself talking the other day, as we'll be talking this afternoon. He's just confirmed to me that
excellent. That's good news.
He'll be here this afternoon. That if we're talking about the Olympics in 2032, where of course the aim is to have bowls as one of the sports, and it's fair to say there's two important factors to that. One being mixed pairs.
Yeah, why not?
And the para/blind environment as a sport for all is a plus
Yeah, why not? You know, if I think to the so the indoor game, the one played on the mats, the international, they play against Australia. They pick 7 men and 7 women, and they play men's fours, women's fours, mixed pairs, mixed fours.
Yep.
It's all done, and it's a great event. And I see no reason why we couldn't do a similar thing in outdoor.
No, it's the way it's going to be for sure, and it's great, and it's great to see. So 19-2 now as we play in 12 of Aiden with Kelvin Scott, who 4 days ago won the Summerset National Singles over Tony Grantham, who is still here playing.
He's not far away if he gets it square in the guts.
No, he doesn't.
But he's rested back, so he's ensured that it's going to be really tough to score a multiple here. So Aiden just indicating, look, I'll draw on the back end. I'll try and make it 2. We cross our fingers. If Kelvin misses, suddenly we trail 14-19.
So Kelvin Scott, of course, defeated Tony Grantham, who was still going in the men's pairs, playing with his partner Gary Lawson. And the last count we had, it was Gary Lawson leading by 12 shots to 2 after 9 ends.
Yeah, it's a formidable team they are, the Lawson-Grantham combination. I think Kelvin said that in the singles title that Grantham won, because he's obviously a former national singles champion as well, it was against Kelvin, and Kelvin said, I had him dead and buried, and then I lost.
Yeah,
so there would have been an aspect of revenge, I think, popping into Kelvin's mind when that final happened.
Was that in Dunedin, I think?
I think so. It was about maybe 10, 15 years ago. So Aiden making it 2 there. Kelvin just be thinking, well, you know, if we drop a 2, it's still, 15 points the difference. That's fine. If they get 1, it's just another nail in that proverbial coffin, isn't it?
It's a second shot game now, really, for Kelvin Scott, isn't it? You know, they can be quite happy with second shot. Kelvin Scott. Yeah, we'll try and either draw the shot or get another close second. It's really
on his forehand. Oh, that was the question I was going to ask you, Kev. Can you recall how many people have won the singles and the pairs in the same year? Is that something that's happened often, or
no, not the year in Auckland.
So I remember there's fours and singles winners at the same time, but I couldn't think.
No, there was 2.
2 there. So that's good. So they've doubled their score again.
The first year that Mike Kernahan won the singles, he played Mike Galloway in the final at what was only Hunga.
Yes.
And Mike Galloway and David Clark won the pairs. So,
okay. So 2 finals.
So Mike Galloway played in 2 finals. I can't recollect singles and pairs crossing the line on at the same.
It's got to be crossing Kelvin Scott's mind if he sort of keeps going. You know, he could be a singles and pairs winner in the same year. That's he'll be drawing an illustrious club. I mean, we've had a national championship for close enough to 100 years now. Someone might have done it in the 30s or 40s.
Well,
but
I know Brett O'Reilly is in fact watching this. Brett's a bit of a historian, so Brett may be able to actually. I'll have to check in a moment because I know he's watching. He just sent me a text but a moment ago. So
we used to have a player of the tournament as well for national championships, didn't we, Kev?
We certainly did.
No longer exists after it was split to only be 2 events.
Funnily enough, there was always a very, very hotly debated award. And, of course, a lot of people didn't know how it was actually awarded. It was a lot of assumption of how it was awarded. So in latter years, Bowl New Zealand did put into the book at the start of the tournament how you got so many points for winning. Because it was always looked upon as how did that happen?
Very good. And we see Richard Hocking here. Needs to get down a little bit. They just want to keep on ticking over that scoreboard, do the Hocking and Takarua competition, and if they can find a chance to make a number, they'll make it. And it's at that point where they have to keep scoring, or there's going to be no game to play.
I know Brett O'Reilly will be able to confirm this to me. I got a feeling that the late Phil Scogland won a singles and pairs.
Another handy one, mate.
If there was someone who's done it, it would be him, wouldn't it? He was one of the.
He was up in that echelon of.
Very consistent.
And it's certainly not, because Unkovic, he was up there, but he was more fours and pairs, not. Although did win a singles, beat Frank Sigverston of Ekatahuna at Berhampore, 21-3.
Mighty Ekatahuna.
He did.
I think Phil Skoglund was one of a handful who won the national singles with 2 lives intact when it was run in that system.
13 rounds. That's what it was.
Not a bad effort.
It's what it normally ran at.
Great shot.
Great shot for Richard Hocking. It was normally about 13 rounds to the final in the old 2 life system. And I can remember about 1 year in Christchurch, before it became men's and ladies all in the one event.
Yeah.
Here's Williams, not going to be far away.
Good shot there.
Where we actually we had a morning section and an afternoon section who played and came back the next day and finished when we had the days of the really the huge entries.
I was telling Mark Cameron, our CEO, and Mark O'Connor played the peers for Ponsonby this year, Kev. I was telling him he was following the footsteps of Maxwell Walker. Was
yes,
the last
that's correct.
Big bowler from Ponsonby.
Just had someone who would definitely know. Sharon Sims just sent me a note.
Oh, brilliant.
If we go back to Christchurch 2 years ago.
Yes.
Because Caitlin Inch did the double.
Yes, she did. I should have remembered that. I was there.
Won the pairs with Selena Goddard.
Yes.
And also Millie Khan did it as well. So
brilliant. That's 2.
So Sharon Sims has just confirmed that to me, and I thank you for that, Sharon, because Sharon would certainly know.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Appreciate it. It's good to know that people are listening. So we've got another round of updates for the quarterfinals and semi-finals going on. Delivered to us by Mr. Colin Williams. Where are we?
Well, here we go. So the Mandy Boyd game against Claire Hendra tightened up a fraction, but still that sort of gap at 18-11 now to Claire Hendra. The Taylor Bruce, Selena Smith game, that's tightened up as well now. It's Taylor Bruce is in front, going for the jack was Aiden Takarua, missed it on the wide side. It's 14-12 now to Taylor Bruce over Selena Goddard. Gary Lawson v Jackson, and it's now Lawson 15-4 after 11. Taylor Horn leading Steve Beale 15-9 after 14. The game between Rod Graney and Andrew Kelly, that's anybody's game. 12 gone, and it's Andrew Kelly who's leading 11-10. 11-10.
Some good matchups there, and looking... it's going to be interesting to follow the semi-finals. I'll keep a little thread if anyone's watching and they want to keep a track of what's happening in the men's semi-finals on Facebook. If you find our live streaming link for the women's singles final, underneath that in the comments, I will post what the scores are. So that's where the updates will be for the scores.
So you'll get the running totals, running scores throughout for that men's semi-final.
Updated in the commentary as well, obviously. We might just... Are we going to see a shake of hands here? I think we're drawing to the conclusion of this game, Kev, so I'll let you finish if they shake hands.
Well, I've just had a note come through from Adam Haywood. It said Tony Grantham won the singles in the same in Dunedin. Was that playing with Mike Kernahan in the pairs?
Yeah, that sounds like it's plausible.
And won the singles. Thanks for that, Adam. Yeah, I was down there actually and got blown away, I remember. So thanks for that, Adam. So Tony Grantham won the singles and pairs in the same year, as did Caitlin Inch, the Australian-based player, plays out of Kawana now, and the late icon, the legend, Millie Khan.
So it wouldn't be an empty club that Kelvin was joining, but for sure would be an exclusive one, wouldn't it?
Oh,
if
absolutely.
he was to go the singles and the pairs, if we see them reach that number that Kelvin Scott's very familiar with, that 21-point target there. 21-4 they lead after 13 ends of 18, and that's some dire straits now that the Takarua and Hocking combination are in, and we're going to see Some pretty aggressive bowls, I think. If they are at a head where they can't score a multiple, it'll be killed.
Well, playing in 14. So thank you for that, Adam and Sharon Sims, for those updates. And
Half a chance.
good crowd assembling here as we move towards that final, our next game here in the Summerset Nationals penultimate match. There's a nice crowd in around. Sun streaming down here.
Gathering up. You can see
Burnside.
national. There's the national champion there. He won the blind singles yesterday. He's got his hat on, Kevin. You could see it. So if you win a national championship nowadays, Bowls New Zealand gives you a black hat. You may have seen them around. You get a black hat, and on the side of it is inscribed, whatever year it was, their national champion. So I noticed the hat first. You can see it's him and his wife, Gay. Tom is his name. Tom and Gay.
they from here, from
yes,
the
that's
from
right.
the Burnside
so
Club.
Down checking out the bowls.
So what we've seen within this game really is the importance of a really, and no disrespect at all to Richard Hocking. We know how good a bowler Richard Hocking is.
Yeah.
But what we've seen is Barry Williams just set the match up.
He's played really well.
Scott.
It's an interesting game because there's probably only been one loose hit. I think Aiden and Richard dropped to 5. Right?
Correct,
So that was
yes.
that was the loose
On the
hit.
10th end, yeah.
Every other end has been well contested.
And there was a lot of room on that end.
There was, yeah. So they should never drop to 5. So if we take the 5 off the score, it should be about 16-4 is probably a fair reflection. The 5 was unusual. You know, it was just a shotgun hit.
It was.
No one played well on it. But the other ends have been well contested. But Barry Williams has just got that one bowl really close.
He has
and it's
consistently.
they haven't been able to convert the heads, and Kelvin's just been steady as he is, putting bowls there and thereabouts, and they now find themselves at 21 points to 4 up, which is a comfortable position.
Very comfortable.
You're in a quarter-final, you're on N14, you're 21-4 up. You'd say, cool. Thank you very much.
Yes.
So we see Hocking on his backhand. 2 balls passed again, which is reasonable. So they just need to be looked to making numbers, you know, probably 3s. And they're probably getting 3s and 4s at this stage of the game. Hocking trying to go for the trail. Aiden calling it to drop. As it comes down, he needs to be up. He needs to be reaching.
So
yep, one shot there.
the messages keep coming. We just got a Sharon Sims via Kathy Andrews from the Paratutu Club in Taranaki. That in 91-92, Peter Ballas won both the singles and the pairs in 91 and 92. The great Peter Ballas.
Yeah, he's not about. There he is. There's our national champion.
There he is sitting there with the cap on.
20, and he turned his head as if he had heard us say something. So
Yes.
That's the cap you get along with your medal when you win a national championship.
So thank you for that, Kathy, and look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time when we'll be down to cover the Taranaki Open Fours. We'll be there. Thank you, Sharon. Great to get those updates.
Kelvin on his backhand. So what is the required run rate here, Kev? What, they're 16 down, 5 to go.
4s.
Yeah. That's going to be a challenge.
It is.
Because you need to get, even if you look at that, you need to get 4 balls within 2 or 3 feet and then back Kelvin not to move something. Aiden on his backhand again, trying to chuck one close. Needs to be making, the thing is that every ball needs to be effective now from the Hocking and Takarua combination.
Every ball's got to count, literally.
Yeah. Half a chance if it gets down enough. It's just that
It's just that Aiden has, to be fair, struggled to get the line, hasn't he? Both ways, really. He's just been, the weight's been fine, but he's just been missing that, what I would call that mark, that point. And I just wonder whether, I think Kelvin Scott, what are you thinking?
Marching down after this one.
Could be shake hands time, is it?
They probably go to it's mostly mathematically impossible, but you need to score a number here. If they don't score a number here...
Oh, it's Kelvin's still got a bowl to play. My apologies, of course. So just having a look at the head.
Aiden looking at this one. He's had a lot of bowls that look like they're going to be quite close, and then they haven't.
Well, it's
so
just
this one here, look, if it tracks out, this bowl could so easily track in. If he had been a bowl narrower than that, he's in for 2.
It's really, like you couldn't fault the weight right throughout the whole game that Aiden's played with. It's just that line, so to speak, of
just a smidgen, eh?
6 to 8 inches of,
Yeah.
of width going both ways, really.
Yeah.
And that's been the consistency which has been shown from the Scott Williams combination.
He's lining up on his forehand. He's going to play the backhand. Across his body is Kelvin. There we go. I'm getting the hang of figuring out which hand he's playing.
We've seen enough of him over the last.
So Aiden's going to have a look to see if there's a way to make more than a 2 out of this, because 6.21 after 14 isn't ideal. Kelvin just second shot, as you say, and he's got second and third and fourth and fifth.
So where is the scoring chance?
Can they move Richard's bowl? I don't know. You either make it 2. You could just about try and play the forehand through the gap and move Richard's bowl 3 or 4
The only
bowls
chance
up.
I see is there's 2 bowls of Richards there behind there.
Yes.
So do you play to move to the jack? You stay with it for 3, isn't it? You know, because the other bowls of Aiden's other bowls are out to the side of the head, really. So the Richard Hocking bowls are on the jack trail area, really, aren't they? Whereas Aiden's unfortunately aren't in there.
As we see this long walk back, it's a long walk back to your bowl when it's the last one, isn't it? And you've got to play a big one, and you've just had a look at the head walking back, thinking, you know,
They've got to do this to be in the game. Here's Aiden Takarua. Really needs jack movement. Well, he's got a tighter line.
Himself every
He's
chance.
got himself. Has he got the weight on that line? No, he hasn't.
Oh, that's disappointing. He'd be disappointed with that. Beautiful track, but they're still persisting. They've scored another shot. 5.21. They trail now on N15, so they got 4 to go. Need 5s. That's the required run rate. If we had that little statistic up, I reckon that'd be cool in a bowls thing. You see in cricket, you see a required run rate for a team. I think the required number of ends, points scored each end to level would be interesting.
So, boy, it's really flying in now. Well, that's contradictory because someone's come back to me, Richard Kerr, and said no man has won the singles and pairs in the same year.
Right. Well, I tell you what. Before we get to the final of the men's pairs, I will do some research, and I'll get an answer for you.
Well, Sharon Sims, so Kathy Andrews, good authorities, tell me Peter Ballas won both the singles and pairs in 91-92. Adam Hayward, and I was in Dunedin, to be fair, when Tony Grantham won the singles and the pairs. I might have to correct that. That could have been the singles and the 4s with Mike Kernhan, actually.
Yes. Yeah. I'll have a look. I will go look.
Because yes, that could have been the singles and the 4s.
I'll go looking and I'll get the list of players that have done it, if they have done it, and we can have a definitive answer, which gives everyone a reason to stay watching and listening to the live streams, doesn't it? You'll get an answer if you hang around for the men's pairs final at approximately 2:30 when it's to be.
We'll have all the answers.
A definitive answer. I reckon Maxwell Walker's a chance, that man from Ponsonby from the 30s.
Well, he's certainly he's on the honours board a lot.
He is. Yeah, he won a few national titles. He wrote a book on bowls. Did Maxwell Walker?
There's been those early days. There was a lot of. They're coming in thick and fast. These messages now, Alex. That.
Far away, mate.
Right, the New Zealand National Bowls Championships is organised, and here is.
There's a Wikipedia article on it. That's where I'll go for my research.
There we go. That's just come through to me from, I think it must be Regan Larkin has just sent me through.
Excellent. And there's a discussion to be had with the National Championships too, because one was run by, I think, was there a Northern Bowling Association? There was before the New Zealand Bowling Association amalgamated. They ran a National Championships, but it was actually essentially a South Island Championships.
Well, of
the
course,
North Island clubs didn't affiliate.
They were called the Dominions.
Yes, they were.
And if Grant Hassel happens to be listening, Grant Hassel still calls them.
I quite like it.
The Dominions.
I quite like it. I think it's just a sort of nod back.
The trophy. Is it the Fours trophy?
Yes, we have the original Fours
That's
shield.
That's the original Dominion Fours shield, isn't it?
It is. The New Zealand Bowling Association. So that was created in, I don't know,
Boy, they're really coming now, mate.
19-something.
Donald Stevens, double gold. Oh, this is, boy. I'm sure. Donald Stevens, double gold 2022, singles and pairs. That was in the blind bowls.
Yes, yep.
And myself in 20. So that must be from.
He's our Summerset national. He got an award, Steve.
Steve from
Delaney.
From Nelson.
Great bowler.
Thank you for
been participating this week.
Look, I'll have to leave these messages. Sorry, people, because
it's great. It feels like we're around a bowls bar having a chat about who won what and when.
Correct, Adam Hayward. You're 100% correct. Yes, it was with Mike Nagy that Tony Grantham won the pairs.
On the national pairs. Very good. No, I'll get a definitive list for us.
Yeah, I think we need it because this is next.
It's good. So we see
here.
So
3 shots.
What's happened while we've been talking? They were holding 3.5, but I think Kelvin's just put one in for second shot there. So Aiden needs to be on his forehand. Move the jack a foot back for 4. A 4 would be nice here at this point. They trail 9.21. It's actually probably still not enough. They need a 5, don't they?
Well, they do, but you play another end. Do you know?
I wouldn't mind because I think we're about to get an update of the scores.
Oh, well, we can hold on till we get that update. Then, can't
hold on
we?
till we get an update regardless, I think. And again, go over nosy. So if you're watching this
could well count if it sits inside that bowl.
Good shot. So we've got so many cameras that need looking after on this live stream. It's really hard to move it after this game to the other quarterfinals that are going. But I will endeavour to put score updates on the link that you've been following this on. If you're watching this, so if you go to Facebook and you've seen where we've posted this link in the comments, I'll put score updates for the other 3 men's quarterfinals. So this one finishes a little bit early.
So Richard Kerp, yes, he's now confirmed as well. Peter Bellis, 91-92. So look, thank you to all those people who have come in with that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have that sort of discussion. And how often do you hear it in a bowls club room?
You know,
who's won what titles? There's an argument that Neville Hill's won the most club titles out of anyone. And he's
well, we'll go over a real trivia question of who's the man that's played for the most centres.
Neville Hill would be close to that, I reckon.
Oh, he would.
And I think he's won an inter-centre in like 3 or 4 or 5 different centres as well.
He has.
Hawke's Bay, Dunedin, Auckland,
Taranaki,
yeah. So there's 4. It's pretty. It's not a bad effort.
Hawke's Bay.
Kelvin Scott here, so we'll see if they continue for another end. If they don't, we'll just read out to you the quarterfinal scores before the finish, and if they do, we'll read them out anyway.
Here they come. So Claire Hendra now sitting on 20 to 12 over Mandy Boyd. Taylor Bruce leading Selena Goddard 18-12, 18-12. Now Taylor Bruce up over Selena Goddard, and Claire Hendra 20 to 12. And are we going to see the pairs combination?
That's the way it's tracking.
Towards playing in the final. Gary Lawson leading his quarterfinal 19 shots to 4. Taylor Horn leading 18 shots to 9 after 16 ends. And Andrew Kelly still that 1 shot. It's all that's in it. 14 ends gone. And it's 12-11 to Andrew Kelly over Rod DeGraney. So just to recap, we know what's going on here. 21-7 now it is to the Kelvin Scott combination. Gary Lawson leading 19-4. Taylor Horn leading 18-9. And Andrew Kelly leading by the 1 shot 12-11. And the women's singles, it is Claire Hendra of the Silver Screen Club in Wellington who is leading Mandy Boyd by 20 shots to 12. And it is Taylor Bruce leading Selena Goddard by 18 shots to 12 in those women's semi-finals.
Excellent. And we see another end played, so the equation is now 5s. Get a 5.
It is 5s.
You wouldn't sneeze at a 6, I don't think, but the 5 would be ideal here for the Takarua and Hocking combination. What a performance we've seen by Williams and Scott. Just steady bowl. So hard to beat. That Hocking's woken up a bit. Well, woken up is the wrong word. He's been playing well the entire time, but his first bowl has improved in these last 4 or 5 ends. We've seen Hocking sort of put Barry under some pressure to be holding the shot, and we've seen some better crossovers in the last few
Well,
ends.
you're talking about 8s. No, Kerry Clark playing the final at Onehunga, playing Ken Murder in the final, the late Ken Murder.
Yes, yep.
Start, Mark.
And needed 8 on the last end. Did the murder combination, and they were holding the number. And the Kerry Clark side, I think they drew about 5th or 6th shot
a
or
bit
something.
stressful.
It was. And there is the final, and I know Brett O'Reilly will know this.
There's a famous 8 that was dropped, wasn't there?
It was, I think it was Jeff Raybone, and it was when the Nationals would have been the Dominions, and I'm sure it was at the Auckland. It was in Auckland, and I'm not going to say the Auckland Bowling Club was Jeff Raybone.
I think Gary Cotton's father was involved.
He was, and there was an 8, and Raybone played out of the old Auckland club. Now, Hocking's really come to his forte in this last couple of years. As Richard Hocking.
No, it's great. Those bowl stories are brilliant to be told and retold, and exaggerated if you want to, but you know it's good to have that sort of chat around a club room. That's part of our sport, as our history.
There was a great book written by John Carter from Hutt Valley,
yes,
and sort of following the history of.
Yep, it's most club, or every bowling club in New Zealand has had one in the past. So we see the first result in first person in the final. Kev.
Claire Hendrip of the Silverstream Club in Wellington, who earlier in the week, of course, played in the final of the pairs, is through now to the final of the singles in the Summerset National Women's Singles, defeating Mandy Boyd by 21 shots to 12. So a good win there from the Silverstream player. And look, without doubt now, obviously...
Great bowls there from Richard Hocking.
Alex, it's fair to say, putting a hand up for something else which is coming later this year, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
And a very good effort there from Claire Hendren. She'll be looking to win that final to make up for the disappointment of the pairs one. We forgot counties for Neville Hill.
Yes, of course he did. He played counties. That's correct.
It's too many.
Yeah, so he has.
It's interesting here. We've actually they've got an opportunity to score that 5. That 5 they're looking for. Kelvin will be feeling pretty confident he can get in there, but Richard's put 3 bowls within 2 or 3 feet of the jack. That's not that easy to get inside of. If Aiden can add a bit of pressure on his backhand, make it a 4 or 5.
Well, we're in for a good day here because we're building up. We're only half an hour away because 11 o'clock is literally the alarm clock time on if the nor'west is going to arrive and give us a bit of touch up. But looking outside now, looking at the cloud formation and those trees out to the left of us here, Alex, I think we're in for a
pretty good day.
Yeah,
Kev.
I think we're pretty right, and we're going to have a fantastic day.
Extremely excited for the watermelon that is sitting in the fridge.
Oh, that's
I purchased that a couple of days ago in preparation for the hot day on finals day. So I'll be one of the reasons I won't be in commentary for the next 2 games. I'll be busy trying to cut that watermelon up and put it onto some plates.
So here is Kelvin Scott, of course, the winner of the Summerset National Singles a few days back, where he defeated Tony Grantham, and there's every likelihood that they're going to go head-to-head. Looking for the jack is Scott, or sitting on the shot bowl. He won't mind that, sits on the back of the bowl. And, of course, there's every likelihood in that semi-final we're going to see Tony Grantham and Kelvin Scott yet again.
Yes, I think we will see that. I think we will.
So is Tony Grantham, another player now that comes into the equation. He's in that blackjack squad. You know, he's played for New Zealand.
Lots of people putting their hands up, Kev.
Hand up, you know.
Absolutely. I would not want to be a selector.
Well,
it's much easier to watch from the sideline.
Oh, it is. But one of the great things, of course, about national championships, Alex, I think I played in my very first national championship, I think, in 1976 I played my first national championship. And I was playing for Ian Birch at the Bowls, playing for a little club called Smart Road down in New Plymouth, no longer in existence.
Yep.
Gary Mountsie, in fact, who won a New Zealand title with Brian Baldwin, also played there. And we qualified in the 4s. And I'll never forget the Ian Birch saying, "Where is Smart Road?" on Sports Roundup on the lazy, hazy days of summer. Where is this? Where is Smart Road? And so I played in my very first Nationals in 1976. And to me, there's something about the Nationals where, one, the camaraderie within the Nationals, the competitive environment, the social environment, but you always have players that will either arrive as newly found players.
Yep.
You'll have the upsets. You're looking for your top players to come through.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's such a brilliant mix, isn't it? The Nationals.
It's ideal, and that's what makes the National Championships such a unique event. And, you as a club player can come along and you can play against the Gary Lawsons, the Andrew Kellys, the Taylor Bruces. So it creates a fantastic environment and has all the aspects to me of, well, it is just a great...
Here we go. Aiden's looking to make a number here.
Needs to squeeze a bowl.
Hit that one square. Good shot. Good enough.
3.
They're sitting with 3, 3.5. That'll make them trail by 11 with 2 to go. So it's still alive. Well, a chance.
3 or 4.
Kelvin just asking if it's 3 or 4 there.
I think it's only the 3.
Aiden and Richard will be wishing they had another 18 ends to play. I think they've been playing some good bowls the last 4 or 5 ends. Probably had the better of the Kelvin and Barry combination, but Kelvin and Barry had that scoreboard advantage, didn't they? You can just sort of play that more defensive game.
They're in that position now
If I tip my bowl out, we're going to
because they had a head to play to.
Yep, exactly. We just heard Kelvin say, if I chip my bowl out, we'll go another couple down. So I'll just draw it. That's what you can do when you lead 21-7.
So there's no scoreboard chasing, it's just a matter of consolidating. So just to confirm that Claire Hendra of the Silverstream Club in Wellington is through to another New Zealand final where she defeated Mandy Boyd by 21 shots to 12. And of course we'll play the winner of the Taylor Bruce Selena Smith game, or Selena Goddard game, where we have Taylor Bruce leading that 18 shots to 12 in the race to 21. Taylor Bruce to the Burnside Club. Course.
How's this one from Kelvin?
Short. Taylor Bruce already, of course, played in the pairs final earlier on, as did, of course, Claire Hendra. They played together.
I was reading in the paper, Mr. Grant Hassell's been writing some brilliant little summaries. As we see, Taylor is 20 to 14 up on Selena. He did a summary of the most recent day of the Nationals, and Taylor Bruce has an incredible record in the singles, consistency-wise.
Absolutely.
Last 5 or 6 years, she's gone quarterfinals or better in this event. That's a fair effort, isn't it?
Well, I think she makes this final here. This could well be her 3rd final. Definitely, I can remember in Dunedin, and I think there was one here as well in Christchurch that I can recollect. Again, those history counters out there. But so I'll pose the questions and we can talk about this. So with Joe Edwards no longer available to play for New Zealand, and it's a bit of a struggle in regards to forming what I would call a new combination of a team of 5, do you then play Taylor Bruce in the singles?
It's a great question, Kev. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I'll be pondering that because we have 2 or 3 women who have such strong records in the singles event. You could point to a couple of them, but you could point at Taylor and say, look, you've made the quarterfinals or better for the last 6 years in a row. That's how consistent you've been in the singles game to get to a quarterfinal at a national event. You have to play well on your section play. You have to beat good bowlers to get there. Should be capable for sure.
Well, I can tell you one of her life goals, or bowls goals, was to take over the mantle from Joe Edwards as New Zealand singles player.
Well, there you go.
So, and of course, what that frees up by doing that, it allows Caitlin Inch and Val Smith to play at the back end. So it tightens up, well, it strengthens up the... Here's Hocking again now.
Richard Hocking really come on the last few ends.
Yeah, just drawing the Richards
so
bowl.
From a selectorial point of view, it can tighten up, so to speak, your back end players by not having to have one of your back end players then playing singles. One would always say you have your best player play singles, but also I would think in the selector's mind would be the most consistent player would at this present stage be your most,
good start.
I think, your best choice.
Great questions, and again, I do not envy the selectors at all. I'm happy to be a pundit and to watch our team and to be supportive of the Blackjacks, but I wouldn't want to be a selector.
Well, what it does do, it enables them to tie up the back ends with Val Smith and Caitlin Inch, which has been the way that they've been playing the New Zealand side.
Yep, and successfully as well.
Initially, Val Smith was skipping and Caitlin was playing at 3. when we were at one of the events in Australia a couple of years back. That was changed.
Richard needs to hold here.
Going to sit the front of
this
the
could be
bowl out.
Brilliant. If it holds a little bit longer.
Front. We needed really one more roll out of the bowl to get a perfect result.
Just draw another one handy now, mate.
So then they changed it around.
I don't even care if you play there.
Val went to 3. So really what it does, it allows them to keep that position together, and then you can pick your front from there.
Yep, no, it's a good question, Kev. It'll be intriguing to see what the teams are when they're released for the Commonwealth Games. It's going to be an exciting one for New Zealand bowlers. It's likely to be almost the first international bowling competition we've had.
Yeah,
what feels like forever, doesn't it?
We're still queuing up to see whether we're going to be at Mount Tambourine birthday weekend.
Yeah, precisely.
Very good.
Hopefully you're going to come over, Alex.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
I'll wait and see. I'll wait and see, but it'll be cool. Just great to get those bowlers. I feel for our international people in the international frame, because with this pandemic it's been a real challenge to get that international competition happening due to border restrictions.
Well, I see with the World Indoor about to start, on the charge here is
half a chance
trying to get through the port
square
to the black bowl, run onto it.
Okay, well, now we go for a kill.
Well, there was a shot option there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. He played it, yeah.
Either get to that black bowl or
yeah, we'll see them wind up for a kill here. He's lost a bowl off the head. It's hard to make a 5 out of that. You may as well try and kill the end and see if you can do it again.
No, with the COVID, I see sort of thing come out and done Woody about the COVID in the UK. So Potters, of course, is going ahead at this stage.
Yes, yeah.
There's still some concerns, and will be different in how it's been run. Well,
the World Darts Championship had issues as well, didn't it?
There we go. Gary Lawson through to the semi-final, winning his game by 20 shots to 6. And Taylor Horn now with leading 18-9 with 16 completed. Here's Aiden Takarua on the drive, looks wide, got the bowl. No, I didn't need got a couple of his own as well.
Yeah, there'll be one more drive coming from him, I think.
And still really the Andrew Kelly, Seamus Curtin game, 14-12 to Andrew Kelly over Rod Graney. Well, that's still not over. That's
anyone's game of bowls.
That's for sure. 2014, Taylor Bruce all but over Selena Goddard. Gary Lawson through to another semi-final. He'll be delighted about that. Taylor Horn well on the way to making the semi-final in this next round. And the Andrew Kelly Rod Graney game, too close to call at this point with 16 gone.
That's a good idea.
And it's Kelly leading 16-12. And remembering, of course, that Claire Hendra has already won her singles semi-final over Mandy Boyd by 21 shots to 12. This could be shake hands, and it will be.
Cheers, mate.
And there's the shake hands, and we've seen the combination of Barry Williams and Kelvin Scott, too strong on the day, run out the winners by 21 shots to 11 over Richard Hocking and Aiden Takarua here in this quarter-final at the Bowls New Zealand Summerset National Championships here in beautiful sunny conditions here at Burnside in Christchurch. And we'll be back. Well, we'll be back at about 11ish for 11:15 for the final of the women's singles.